Hey guys, this is Courtney from Willow's Bloom, and I am super excited today because we're going to be talking about the first eclipse of the season. And if you guys know anything about eclipses, then you know they bring some massive change to our lives, especially if they hit personal planets in the first, seventh, fourth, or 10th house. But regardless, everyone can experience drastic change. And eclipses specifically bring a lot of change to societal levels because basically when I look at, okay, let me just kind of rewind a little bit. Basically, what an eclipse is a full or a new moon, and this one's a full moon, happening near the moon's nodes, so the north and south node. And as a society, we all have the nodes in one place for around a year and a half. So the north node right now is in Gemini, the south node right now is in Sagittarius. That means most of the eclipses will be happening in these two signs. So first of all, Gemini and Sagittarius already bring about a lot of change, especially Gemini, which is a very adaptable sign. So the fact that we're having Gemini involved is going to indicate just kind of like double eclipse energy because there is already an inherent mutability within Gemini and adaptability within Gemini. On top of that, because as a society we have undergone so much transformation this past 2 years, these eclipses are kind of going to help set things in stone along the path and basically start paving the way to the future and what this new world is going to look like now that we've kind of come out of this more incubation period. So these eclipses are going to be even more potent and more powerful. And eclipses do make changes to society as a whole. So as a society, we are actually moving forward towards the energy of Gemini and moving away from the energy of Sagittarius. And you can oftentimes see these polarities come up even stronger during this time to allow us to make the decision about which way we want to go. Sagittarius South Node energy is coming from a place of being correct, of thinking that you are right and that you have all of the knowledge and your truth is correct. And as we can see, as we move through these last few years, there's been a lot of different opinions out there. A lot of people saying things that are in complete opposition and having facts and other people to back each other up. But it's almost like everyone thinks that they're right. And the Gemini energy, the Gemini North Node, is about really listening to people and eventually coming back to your own truth, but being very open-minded and adaptable to change and to observing other types of opinions and beliefs about the world. So generally, that is what's going on right now in terms of the nodes. And we're also moving to more insular communities in the sense that we're traveling less. However, now that Jupiter is entering Pisces, I can see this kind of lifting a little bit. So I'm going to jump into all of that in just a second. But before I do that, I wanted to just say that on the day after this eclipse, so on the 26th, I am going to be launching my membership that's called the North Node Society, and I'm super, super stoked. And so basically to launch it off on the 26th, we're going to have a full moon gathering, which is centered around this eclipse. Let me just check really quick that the eclipse is happening on the 25th or the 26th, because for some reason I'm blanking. Okay, sorry. The eclipse is happening on the 26th. My launch is happening on the 25th. And the gathering will be on the day of the eclipse. So basically, once you sign up for the membership, you'll have an invitation to this gathering. And we're going to go over how this will impact your sign more or less and how you can start to manifest what you want. And we'll also probably open it up for people to share and just kind of talk and get to know one another in the community. So also part of this membership, I'm going to have a full astrology course in there for you guys. And it's such a cheap membership to have this whole course is kind of insane. I feel like I should have sold the course separately, but really what I wanted for you guys to have is all of the knowledge and the basis to be able to read your own chart and to understand your gifts. And I didn't really want to make that, I didn't want to make money to be the thing that stands in between you and understanding yourself. So I'm just going to have to, figure out maybe how to do another course in the future that's more in depth or something like that, which was kind of my intention. But yeah, there's going to be a whole astrology course. We're going to have monthly astrology calls. So even though I go over all of the planets, all the signs, all of the houses, how to look at your transits, how to read your chart for your gifts, how to do chart interpretation, so many different things. Even though I already cover that, I want to go even deeper in our monthly calls. So basically, I'm going to start off with the first month looking at the sun, and I'm going to look at the sun and all the houses, all the signs, different aspects of the sun, different examples, and I'll give you guys also the opportunity to offer your chart for interpretation purposes. We can keep it anonymous, but then you can have your chart read for, for free, which is really cool. I'm also going to have a friend of mine come on named Maya. She is, for the foreseeable future, going to be doing monthly live calls with us. And she is basically like a spiritual therapist kind of person. And you guys, she is so incredible. And her work is expensive to work with her one-on-one. I mean, expensive. It's not expensive, but it's not as cheap as the membership. And so you guys will also have the opportunity to work with her in live calls. So that is something that is a huge gift in this whole course and program, and I'm super excited to offer that to you guys because Maya has changed my life. She is so amazing, and I just wanted to make her available to you guys as something, as an easy access, and then hopefully you guys will be able to work with her one-on-one at some point. I'm also going to be having some new and full moon gatherings. That's not going to be every month. That's going to be whenever it feels like it's the right time to do them. But that's kind of like a way to cultivate more community and also to manifest with the moon, which is very, very exciting. And then lastly, we're going to have some people come in that are guest experts that are going to share their wisdom and knowledge with you guys. So this is if you're interested in finding out your purpose and trying to understand more of what kind of fits your innate gifts. Sometimes we don't know until we know. And what I mean by that is sometimes you don't know about these different kind of healing modalities or topics that are really interesting until you have somebody come and share that with you. And so I am having these guest experts come and share what they do and kind of give some more practical advice for how to better your life. And then if that topic interests you, you can go in depth and actually study with that person or study that topic. And then you'll have a lot more basically wisdom to kind of back up what you want to do. And then slowly, hopefully, your path will unfold as you're finding your purpose. So essentially, that is what the membership is. I'm going to walk you through how to find, pursue, and persevere in your path to your purpose. And in the persevere section, we're going to have things like yoga and meditations and hypnosis, because the thing that helps you persevere the most is having a clear vision, knowing what you're doing this for, and staying really connected to your higher self and source. Because the second that you feel disconnected, it's easy to feel like you're alone. It's easy to not trust and to just kind of give up. And so that's the section where we're really going to cultivate your relationship with yourself and source. So that's really beautiful. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I know I kind of just like jumbled all that and just threw it all at you, but I'm very excited. So I just wanted to announce that. And yeah, it's only $20 a month. So I hope that you guys join us, and we'll be there every single month doing live calls. So I can't wait to see you there. Okay, so now let's talk more about this Sagittarius full moon eclipse. So it's happening at 5 degrees of Sagittarius, and it's happening on May 26th, as I was just clarifying. So this one is very exciting because Jupiter has just moved into Pisces. And if you know anything about traditional astrology, then you will know that Jupiter is actually the traditional ruler of the sign of Pisces. So whenever a planet, whether traditional or modern, moves into its home sign or a sign that it rules, it's basically that planet gets strengthened. It feels comfortable. Just imagine yourself in your home. You normally feel really good. You can walk around in your underwear. You can do whatever weird stuff you do. It's not a big deal. And that's exactly what Jupiter is feeling in the sign of Pisces. Jupiter is such a benevolent planet. It tends to bring us opportunities, money, blessings. It pays off a lot of our hard work that we've done in the past, because it does kind of link up with Saturn in that way. And the fact that it's moving into Pisces, which is an energy of a lot of love and understanding, compassion and peace, I do feel like we're going to start coming into a time where there is more conflict resolution. So right before Jupiter went into Pisces, or maybe right when it did go into Pisces, I'm not sure exactly when, we know that there was a lot of bombings happening back and forth between Gaza and Israel, and I'm obviously not going to go into that, but what I see from Jupiter being in Pisces for the next, May 13th to July 28th, I really see that coming to a more peaceful resolution. That would be the positive side of this. That's not always going to be the case. I'm going to talk about the negative side, but I do feel like that is a strong possibility given what we're currently seeing with this eclipse and just having Jupiter and Pisces in general. So if you have been having some trouble in some area of your life or with certain people, I definitely see those relationships starting to like smooth over a little bit. People being a lot more understanding and compassionate, especially in terms of communication. And yeah, I just feel like things are going to kind of flow a little bit easier. However, what I do see with this is that because of some of these placements, I'm really seeing some signs of possibly grandeur or not really seeing things in a very realistic way. This is because Pisces energy can be sort of mystifying in the sense that you can't always see things very clearly because it feels so energetic. It's not as tangible. It's not as easy to grasp and fully understand. A lot is like happening behind the scenes with Pisces energy. A lot of it is felt and sensed on a very deep intuitive level. So if you have a very strong intuition, then moving into this energy is not going to be challenging for you. However, because of Jupiter being in Pisces and some aspects happening with Neptune in the sky during this time, I do see that some people who are less attuned are basically going to have the possibility of falling into certain circumstances where they could be deceived or where they could really misinterpret or misunderstand what's going on, or where they can just not have the full picture and maybe take action before it's time, things like that. So I just wanted to warn you guys that it's going to be very important for you to slow down and really tune into your heart and your intuition, to use it as a guide at this time, because it can be a time where there's not full clarity coming into view. So I just wanted to say that. And just generally, I feel like the full moon eclipse making a square to Jupiter and Pisces is basically saying that there's a change for the better. And what I'm feeling with this is that things are starting to open up. People are the mask mandates are stopping. People are feeling safer now that there's vaccines. The summer and spring are starting to come in, so the warm weather is starting to come in. People are just feeling more optimistic about life, which Jupiter tends to do and Sagittarius also tends to do. So I'm definitely getting the sense of this like renewal that's happening between May 13th and July 28th. However, what can happen sometimes is that after us being cooped up for so long and then finally kind of bursting free, sometimes what can happen is that you can overdo it. For example, if you fasted for 3 days and then you're able to eat again, you wouldn't want to gorge yourself because you could overdo it and actually make yourself sick. But you might have the temptation or the desire to, because as your body starts to receive fuel and food, it's like, oh my God, I just want to eat everything I see. And so I think that is the warning here with Jupiter. There's always an ability to move into excess when Jupiter is here. And there's also some stuff going on with Venus. And I'm like, we may be prone to miscalculating what we can and can't do at this time. And I'm not trying to put more restrictions on us. I'm just saying that sometimes when we are so excited for freedom, so excited for liberty, we might just kind of burst out into the world. And there may be repercussions later on where things are kind of becoming more strict, especially as Jupiter moves back into Aquarius after July 28th. And of course, Saturn is also in Aquarius. So these energies sort of mixing together are energies more of restriction. So it's possible that towards the end of July, we might actually see things kind of regressing just a little bit. I don't see it going back to anything like it was before, but it is very possible that people are getting like a little bit ahead of themselves and a little bit excited and optimistic, and maybe overly optimistic and not having a very clear idea of what is going on currently in the current atmosphere. But the good news is that Jupiter is going to be moving back into Pisces right after Christmas on December 28th. So if there is any kind of restrictions happening between July and December, it's going to be ending at the end of this year. So it's not like we're going to keep seeing this going on and on and on. I mean, of course it's possible, but that's not really what I'm seeing in the astrology. I do get the sense that Jupiter and Pisces gives us this feeling of freedom, this feeling of feeling really good, honestly, just feeling like we're finally catching a break, and there's almost like this renewal of our soul and of our hope and of our connection, not only with other people, but source. So I definitely don't feel like we're going to go into any crazy lockdowns and things like that in the following year. Okay, so that's essentially what is going on with this square. Also, I wanted to note that Jupiter will be moving retrograde on June 20th. So, right smack dab in the middle of when it's in Pisces, it is going to start going retrograde and inching back towards Aquarius. So, when it goes retrograde, I feel like there can be a time where I think that's going to be kind of when things start to shift a little bit, because whenever a planet goes retrograde, it's almost like it's a little bit tipsy, or it's like not it's not in its full consciousness. And so as we start to make that progress, I feel like we're going to be feeling really good. And then when it starts to go retrograde, we might start to question things. We might not have full clarity. Our optimism might be, we might start realizing like our optimism was a little bit hasty, but like I don't really see things fully happening at that time. But then once it actually like moves back into Aquarius at the end of July, I feel like we're like, okay, we've taken a look at this for the last couple of weeks and we're starting to see that there's a negative trend. We need to do something about this, that type of thing. So this doesn't, I'm talking about this on a societal level, but this can be even in your life as well. Like maybe you feel super optimistic about this new beginning that you're having and you're like, hell yes, like I'm going to be this billionaire and I'm going to have this and this is going to happen. And then, 2 weeks in or 3 weeks in, you're like, well, maybe, or around June 20th when it goes retrograde, you might feel like, okay, well, maybe that was being a little overly optimistic. Maybe let me question this a little bit. Maybe let me assess kind of what's going on. And then for the next month, we're going to do the assessment and then we'll be like, okay, this is actually what's realistic. This is actually what's possible around the end of July. So I hope that does make sense. But I definitely feel like once it goes back into Pisces in December, we're going to have a totally new look on life. And I feel like things are going to have improved so much by then that we're going to be able to step into that full optimism and not have any doubts, have any questions, or have to review it in any type of way. Okay. So let me talk about what else is going on with this eclipse, like outside of the eclipse in the sky. We have Mercury conjunct Venus. And this is kind of why I was saying I do feel like our relationships are improving, our sense of compassion is improving, our communication, and even our mindset about life is starting to improve. However, I also feel like with Venus and with Jupiter, there's always this ability to overdo things. There's always this ability to be like so optimistic or so happy that it's not realistic or totally grounded, especially because Mercury conjunct Venus is also making a square to Neptune, which can be a very deceiving planet. So again, this is the energy of really needing to tap into your intuition, to see with your third eye and not just see with your two eyes. So if you feel like you have hope about something and you don't know how realistic that is, ask your intuition, like really sit with yourself and have that time to kind of unplug and see, is this coming from a place of delusion, or not delusion, because that sounds kind of intense, but sometimes our hopefulness is based off of where our life is going, and other times our hopefulness is totally detached from reality. And I think the important thing at this time is going to be to really determine where you fall in that spectrum and using your intuition to do so, to determine how healthy is my hopefulness, because hopefulness is very important, but in the right dose, in the right way, because anything out of in the wrong way or like in the wrong amount is going to inherently have a possible negative side effect. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I definitely feel like Mercury conjunct Venus, if you're having any issues in your relationship and you need to communicate about them, this is a really great time for that person to be really receptive to what you have to say, for people to just moreover be understanding and like less quick to anger. However, because there's a square with Neptune, I do feel like there would be the possibility of you being misunderstood. So even though the person might be open to what you have to say, they might not fully grasp what you have to say until later on when this is no longer making a square. Like they might feel like they kind of understand, but then they realize later on that they didn't really get the full picture, or they didn't really comprehend like what you were trying to go for. So if you're having like really serious decisions or serious contracts and things like that to sign, just be really careful on this time to be just making sure that you read everything like 7 times through, have other people approve it, and you just want to be as clear as possible, because I do think regardless of how much you try, there is the opportunity here to not have the full picture or to be deceived in some way. What's great about this energy, though, including Venus and the square to Neptune, is there's a lot of creative energy coming in. So besides just using your intuition, this is a really great time to pursue any creative outlets. So if you've been wanting to write a book, if you've been thinking about something that you want to design or some art that you want to get into, even if it's just for fun, this is a great time to do that. And again, to repair maybe any torn rifts in relationships. This is also a really great time for that. And I love that Neptune is also making a trine to Mars, because I feel like this kind of goes along with what I was just saying about the creative aspect. Mars can give us a lot of energy and excitement, and Neptune's a little bit of a softer planet, so I think it kind of can dull down Mars in a way, but I feel like it takes its fiery nature and it pours it into that creativity. So it's like taking your passion and putting it towards something that feels softer, that feels more feminine in nature, whether that's taking care of yourself or being really loving to a partner, or creating something for the joy of creating it, or meditating and feeling like you're really connected to spirit. Those kind of Neptunian topics are going to have more energy and drive behind them at this time in a very positive way. So I like that. I definitely feel like this could again bring about more peace. So those bombings that are going on, I feel like with this trine, it can start to alleviate some of those tensions. At least that's what I'm hoping. So that with Jupiter and Pisces, I feel like is going to hopefully bring just more tranquility to people's demeanors in general. And then lastly, we would have both Saturn and Pluto going retrograde. So Pluto is already retrograde, Saturn is going retrograde. And basically what this means is that I feel like whenever these bigger societal planets go retrograde, is that it's kind of like a time to reevaluate and assess things. So in terms of Pluto, I like to think about this evaluating our sense of power, our sense of self-worth, and really owning who we are. I feel like Pluto has a lot to do with that. So it's kind of like evaluating how far have I come with that, in what ways are my boundaries still being tested, especially with Saturn retrograde. There can be sometimes blurring of boundaries. So it's a really good time to maybe examine your boundaries, examine your sense of power, and how you have matured and evolved on a very soul level since the start of all of this. So since the start of all of COVID and everything like that, I feel like it's just kind of giving us a chance to kind of sit with ourselves and process things on a deeper level, and not necessarily trying to pursue all these new and different things in terms of, I was gonna say, actually, no, forget what I just said. I'm disagreeing with myself. But yeah, I just generally think it's more of a time of internal processing is what I'm trying to say. I don't feel like there's a lot that has to go on a conscious level, although I think it can be very helpful to think about your power and your boundaries and sense of self on a conscious level. But I think generally when I think of these planets being so far away, moving retrograde, I see it as something that kind of happens without our awareness, without our need to be involved necessarily. But just keep in mind that anything that kind of does require Saturn to be on top of its game, like your work, your boundaries, like I was saying, your sense of discipline, those things might be challenged a little bit more at this time, especially with Jupiter and Pisces and with Neptune and everything. It's like there might be this inherent, not laziness, but desire for the comforts of life, desire to enjoy life and relax a little bit. And you might just have a little bit less of that really intense drive and ambition at this time. Might not be the case for all of you, but especially with Neptune making a trine to Mars, I feel like it's kind of softening the more masculine side of ourselves and stepping into the feminine side, where we can start to feel and be more receptive to the things that we desire. So I talked about in the last new moon with the Taurus new moon, I talked about this being a time where we're looking at our desires very closely, and the shadows of our desires, the things that could be blocking us or standing in the way. And I feel like with this eclipse, it's a time for our desires to start coming manifest, for things to start shifting and changing in our lives, and for us to be receiving them and not having to do all of the action and the masculine and everything to move things forward. I feel like we've been doing a lot of the pushing, and now is the time where the head starts to come out and we're starting to see the body emerge into life, and we're starting to feel like, okay, I'm starting to receive blessings for all the efforts that I've put into this prior. And I feel like that's also what Saturn retrograde does as well, is it's kind of wrapping up one part of a cycle where we've done a lot of the effort up to this point, and now we can start feeling more optimistic and start receiving what the rewards for the efforts that we put into before this. And I also see that this is just a really beautiful time for our personal growth, because whenever we're talking about Sagittarius, it is a time of deep growth. So I feel like we're growing through receiving at this time. So all of the things that you've been really wanting, all the things that you've been really desiring, I feel like those things have been kind of put on hold for a lot of us for the last year and a half. I mean, depends on your chart and everything like that, but a lot of the things that we've wanted have been slowed down, blocked, or put on hold, and hasn't been made manifest maybe as easy as it would have other years. And so I feel like this full moon eclipse is basically saying there is an end to that cycle, and now you are opening up to fully receiving. And now that you're receiving, you're starting to feel this renewed sense of hope, and you are growing and stabilizing and healing internally from these new gifts coming in, from this new optimism coming in. Because you can't, like, the universe wouldn't just keep beating us down, because there's only so much that you can learn from the negative lessons before you have your breaking point and you stop trusting and having faith in the universe. At some point, things need to shift in your favor. It's all a part of a cycle. And so I'm getting the sense that this is the upward shift, where we're starting to again receive these benefits, and we also grow and develop and become better people during that time as well, because it gives us the opportunity to kind of synthesize all the pain and trauma that we've had previously. And again, I think that's why Saturn and Pluto are retrograde, because it's giving us that time to, like, have our bodies heal and catch up with everything that we've gone through for this past year and a half. Wow, that was kind of long. I guess I feel kind of chatty today. Wow, that was 27 minutes. Thank you guys for listening to all that. So now let's talk about what this looks like for each of the rising signs. And somebody asked me in the comments the other day, your rising sign is the same sign as your ascendant. If you don't know what that is, then you can just check out your sun sign, or you can always look up your chart on astro.com. You can put in your birth time and your time and your location and a date and any other information, and you'll have your chart pop up, and it's going to be on the very left hand side of the screen. It's going to be the first sign that you see. That's the start of the first house. So I hope that you guys know what that means. If you don't, it's okay. Just watch for your sun sign. But let's go ahead and get started with Aries Rising. Okay, so Aries Rising, this full moon in Sagittarius is happening, of course, in your 9th house. And I'm going to be pulling a few cards to go along with today's messages for us, you guys. So first of all, I just love the 9th house. I mean, that's where my sun is, so I have an affinity for it. But the 9th house is generally really optimistic. It's where we typically kind of go to start traveling, to start learning new things, to start teaching. And it's interesting because oh my God, that's so weird. And it's interesting because the 9th house is also, 9th house in both Sagittarius is like the house of us seeking our truth, following our intuition, understanding what we really need to succeed and to be happy in life. And I feel like you guys have been getting this, card more than once, but you got the Hermit card, which says seek truth. So I'm definitely seeing some theme here about you guys getting really clear on what success means to you and what happiness means to you and what you need for those things in your life. And I feel like you're kind of stepping away from some of the more traditional structures that tell you what that happiness looks like, that tell you what your life should be like in order for you to be successful. I feel like you guys are saying, wait a second, I thought that this job was going to make me really happy, or I thought that this thing was going to make me really happy, but actually I feel like what happiness truly is having time with my family, or I feel like what happiness truly is having the money to travel and having some of these experiences in your life. So I definitely feel like there's going to be some questioning now of some of the things that you've been told. Yeah, I'm definitely getting the sense that you guys are going to be starting to question some of the things that you've been told in your life, and maybe start to have some realizations about what truly makes you happy. And maybe those things are different in your life. Maybe you need things in a different way than other people. I just pulled the Scorpio card. So I'm not sure if this animal relates to you at all, or if you feel an affinity with that. Okay. Um, let me just look up what this other card means. Chrysacola comes to tell you that it's time to focus on your home environment. Spend time alone cultivating a safe, comfortable space in which to take a break from the world and perform some self-care. Home is a sacred place. It's your oasis. It's also connected to the throat chakra and invites you to use your home environment as a form of self-expression. Make sure that you feel comfortable in your divine digs. Okay, so basically, I feel like this is you coming to more home with yourself and like a deeper truth and understanding of yourself, because that's really what Pisces energy is. Scorpio energy is about. It's about these really deep truths about our own psychological makeup, what makes ourselves tick, why we need certain things, why we're triggered by certain things, basically why we are who we are and how we are. And so I'm definitely getting the sense that you're having this deeper truth about yourself and unlearning some of the things that you've been taught, because you're stepping into your power and just believing fully that you can have what you want and deciding even what that means for you. So I feel like the moon making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the 12th house is basically giving you guys a clear vision of yourself. And I feel like it's making you guys honestly more intuitive at this time. Like I feel like you're getting some of these more larger visions of your life and are able to see with more clarity what you are meant for, what your soul wants to move into and to, I guess, achieve. Because I feel like maybe you have been doing some things that aren't in full alignment, or maybe you haven't fully seen yourself in your true light. Like maybe you haven't seen how amazing you are, or you haven't been able to fully see and understand what you desire, because there's a lot of things that need to be unlearned in your life that have just kind of been passed down, that you've just kind of taken, just taken from your environment around you. So I feel like this Chrysacola card, which is all about coming home, I feel like for you guys, this is an opportunity to come home to yourself on a deeper level and seek the truth of your own light and what you really need for your happiness. And sometimes it's a little bit complicated. Maybe something makes you happy right now, but you know it won't make you happy long term. And so maybe you're kind of getting a vision of that. Well, okay, what would I need to be happy long term? Maybe it's not making all these changes right now, but I feel like there's some truth illuminated about what your soul needs. And that's exactly what the square to Jupiter and Pisces is doing, is it's challenging you to spend some time alone, spend some time at home, meditating and with yourself to get to know yourself. And then from that, a lot of wisdom is going to come from you guys. I feel like that is the gift of this time, is the truth of yourself and wisdom about your life and your life direction. Because the 9th house is where we start to have a larger vision of our life, as well as the 12th house is like a larger vision for what our soul needs across multiple lifetimes. So I'm seeing you guys basically have this like clear sight into the future, something like you've never had before to this extent. And so I feel like a lot of it, though, has been because you've maybe moved through some shadows, like we talked about with that new moon in Taurus. Maybe you have realized some of the things that are the darker sides of you, or maybe the unseen sides of you, and kind of understanding maybe why you've made these decisions up to this point, or why you've kind of followed what people have said. It's like you're examining all these sides of yourself that maybe you haven't necessarily looked at before. And yeah, I feel like this is really powerful energy for you guys, stepping into your own and owning exactly what you want and who you are without any self-doubt, essentially. And I love that Mercury is going to be conjunct Venus and Gemini in your 3rd house, because I think that this adds to the clarity of you just feeling good about, I want to say adds to the clarity, but you also have a square with Neptune in the 12th house. Like these planets are squaring Neptune in 12. So there's an inherent lack of clarity there. So I guess what I want to say is that I feel like the clarity is going to come through your intuition and an inner knowing. Like, okay, this doesn't feel good anymore. This does feel good. Or I know that this feels good right now, but it's not going to feel good later. And kind of assessing where you're going to need to change and adapt and grow. But I feel like you're going to be more optimistic. Like you're going to feel good about it. It's not going to feel like, oh my gosh, I have so much changing to do and this isn't in alignment anymore and I'm stressed about it. No, I feel like it's good. I feel like it's good because Mercury is conjunct Venus. And so this kind of gives us that peace of mind. And even though it's a square to Neptune, I feel like Neptune also gives us a general peace of mind as well, even though sometimes that peace of mind is coming at the expense of clarity and actually having knowing exactly something. I feel like it can make us feel good, but it's not always the truth. But I feel like the truth for you is coming. It's just coming in the form of intuition. And that's why you need to go home to yourself. That's why you need to spend time at home by yourself, because you're not going to be able to access that intuitive side of yourself unless you do spend time at home. And I feel like that home card is so funny that this is coming out because you have Mars transiting Cancer in the 4th house. So that's a lot of where this energy is being drawn for you, is to the home environment. So if this means literally making repairs to your home, moving homes, working from home, there is some element here of your home being focused, a focus, especially because this Mars is also making a trine to Neptune. I feel like this is really hitting home and emphasizing the need to meditate and like connect with your soul at home. So not just like repairing it and things like that, but really taking time out for you to take care of yourself and connect with yourself. So yeah, so what I'm feeling for you guys overall is that you're going to have more clarity come into your life about what you need and maybe why you've fallen into these traditional structures, and kind of realizing that not all those traditional structures work for you and don't actually make you happy, and you kind of unlearning those things and seeking your own personal truth for your own happiness. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. And if you're interested in joining the North Node Society, there's going to be a waitlist link down below. We're going to be launching on May 25th, and I can't wait to see you there. Bye. All right, up next we have Taurus Rising or Taurus Ascendant. So for you guys, this full moon in Sagittarius eclipse is happening in your 8th house. The 8th house is usually, like when I think of an eclipse happening there, I feel like there's some kind of like purging happening. I mean, of course, it doesn't have to be the case, but the 8th house, I feel like the 8th house reminds me a lot of the South Node, in the sense that the South Node is the dragon's tail. So the dragon's head, Rahu and Ketu. This is more of like the Vedic philosophy behind the nodes, but Rahu is the North Node, which is the head of the dragon, and Ketu is the tail or the South Node of the dragon. And obviously the South Node and even some of like Scorpio signs, there's this feeling of elimination that happens, like literally like excrement, like you pooping, like what do you do with your butt? You get it. So that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting with this moon in the 8th house, is that there's some kind of purging or release of these energies that have maybe been built up. That's just coming through intuitively when I look at that. I just automatically was thinking of the South Node and that purging process that happens. The South Node, though, is going to be in the 2nd house. So maybe some of these purging is going to come from, oh, you got the turtle, is going to come in terms of your values, in terms of your finances, in terms of your skills, self-worth. Maybe there's some things being released there. I don't know. We'll see when I look closer and like have these cards pulled. So this full moon in Sagittarius is also making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the 11th house. So I feel like whatever purging process this is actually going to be really supported by your community. There is a square, which is a tense angle, but Jupiter in Pisces in the 11th house is just automatically going to bring you more blessings in terms of your friendships and your community and your networks, and even like your hopes and wishes and dreams and all those things. I definitely feel like you guys are going to, like if you're trying to release something and start something new, I feel like people are going to come kind of swoop in and offer that support that you need. Oh my gosh. I literally just pulled the receive card, the Empress receive. That's exactly the feeling that I'm getting. I'm getting the sense that you guys are going to start receiving support from outside people. And it's not like you're going to have to keep doing everything on your own. I feel like you're finally going to start feeling supported at this time. It's going to be less about you and everything that you're able to do. And that's maybe why I was getting a sense of focus on the South Node in the 2nd house. That's a lot about independence. That is a lot about you making everything happen yourself. When I see people have a South Node here in their chart, just in their natal chart, I definitely get the sense that these are people that were overly self-reliant in a past life, or just extremely self-reliant at least. And they're people that wanted to make everything happen on their own. They were independent, and they put an immense amount of pressure on themselves to even likely take care of other people. So there's a sense of financial and emotional and everything independence. Like, I'm going to disconnect from the world. And the feeling that I get with this moon in the 8th house is that there's a purging of that, a release of that, and you're going to step into this energy of receptivity where people are finally going to start showing up for you. Where, I mean, the 8th house is literally where we have a combination of funds, or where big businesses receive money, or where investments start to pay off, or you literally start to make investments. It's also the house of debt, so that's possible. But I'm getting the energy that you guys are receiving presents, that you're receiving things from other people, and that things aren't being taken from you. I'm not getting the sense that this is debt at all. I'm really getting a sense that you're being supported and you're trying to be given stuff. I also pulled the 8 of Swords. It says self-victimization. I feel like this self-victimization card is actually you not really wanting to receive the support, because the South Node being in the 2nd house and purging and releasing your desire for independence, or maybe not your desire, but your focus on being just so independent. I feel like sometimes when that happens, or wherever the South Node is, it's releasing a lot of a stagnant energy. It's basically releasing this old way of being that we've been for such a long time. And I feel like what you guys are going to do is probably want to hold on to it a little bit more than you should. And I feel like that's where the self-victimization card is coming from, is like you have probably been feeling like you have to do everything on your own. And you might feel like you carry a lot of the weight of things of other people, or at least of your own life. And sometimes you might feel like, why do I have to always do this? But then at this time, you're given the opportunity to finally release that and receive. And now that you're having this opportunity, it might feel like, oh my gosh, I actually don't feel comfortable with receiving. Like, I was really comfortable in this place where I handled everything and I did everything myself and I didn't get help. And now you're stepping into this energy of, I need somebody. I need to rely on somebody. And you might feel like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. There might be this internal resistance where you're really fighting this kind of transition. But I'm getting the sense that the universe is kind of coming to shake you loose and be like, no, this is your moment to receive. It's not your moment to try to cling on to this old way of being, to try to control things, because there is so much beauty that comes in once you open up to your gifts and to receiving gifts. Let me just read what this card says as well. So you got the Amethyst card. And it says, Spirit knows that you've been toiling over an important decision, feeling unsure of what to choose. So you've been sent a helper in the form of Amethyst. It's calming and integrating, helping you to feel self-assured and balanced as you consider your options. It's guiding you to find a middle ground in the mix of extreme energies that pull your mind in different directions, or what ifs that may come to pass based on the decision. So what I'm getting a sense here is that some of you guys are going to have really big decisions in terms of investments, possibly. And it's like, okay, I really don't know what to do. Should I be with this person? Should I invest my time into this person? Should I invest my time into this stock or to this house? And you might have this decision to make, and it might feel like, oh my gosh, I'm playing through all these negative scenarios, and this is a time to release that and obviously rely on Amethyst to help you do that. The other interpretation that I'm getting with this is that you're being asked to receive, but it's almost like your brain feels like there's a choice here. Like, okay, should I receive or should I still try to do everything myself? And I feel like what this is saying, you know, to pursue the middle ground is saying you don't need to just do one or the other. You can find somewhere in the middle where you have this feeling of some sense of control, this some sense of independence, while also somewhat relying on other people and being a lot more receptive to what they have to offer you. I also pulled this turtle card for you guys, and I do feel called to read what it says. I'm just curious. I was gonna kind of come up with my own interpretation, but yes. So while I look this up, I just wanted to mention that you guys also have Mercury conjunct Venus and Gemini in the 2nd house. So I'm definitely seeing you guys, I feel like you guys are feeling a little bit more balanced at this time, because the second house, I'm definitely getting this sense of stability here. Like, okay, I like money is coming in. You feel good. Like you're feeling a little bit more stable and more confident in what you have created for yourself. So again, that same independent energy, I feel like you're feeling good about it. But then there's also that square that's happening with these planets to Neptune in the 11th. So I feel like maybe people trying to come in and offer you support could kind of throw you for a loop a little bit, or you can maybe be like questioning those gifts and those things coming in, or that support coming in. And I just want to say, if you don't feel like you have clarity around that support yet, that's okay. You don't need to yet. With this square happening between Neptune and Mercury and Venus, I feel like the clarity is not supposed to be there, but just trust your intuition. If it feels off, if someone's trying to give you something or help you out in some way or be a part of something and you're not sure about it, it doesn't feel right, then trust that. But ultimately, I feel like it's definitely going to benefit you. And I also feel like it's going to help clear your mind a little bit, because Neptune is making a trine to Mars and Cancer in the 3rd house. So Mars moving through Cancer, I feel like, is already kind of putting a lot of energy into the sector of your mind. So you might feel like your mind is kind of going a little bit whack, like really fast, especially because Mercury is in Gemini already. So I feel like there's a little bit more hecticness in your mind. But this trine with Neptune in the 11th is going to kind of ease your mind. Like once you start leaning on people, once they start supporting you, I'm getting a sense that you're going to feel a lot less busy, that you're going to feel a lot less stress, and like there's going to be a lot less on your plate and on your mind. So I'm definitely getting the sense that you need to open up to receiving, but you just have to trust and feel like it's coming from the right place. And if it doesn't feel right to you, again, listen to that. Okay. This says, ancient soul, grounded, trusting, at home in the self. It's wonderful to be in the presence of a turtle personality. Like the beaver, the turtle has a strong relationship with earth and water simultaneously. This helps you ground and connect to the deeper truths of life, no matter where their travels lead them. So this is energy behind writers and storytellers that collect their life experiences and tell the truth of their own tale. Okay. So yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking anyway. But the sense that I was getting was like this combination of earth and water elements here. So I feel like you guys, being a Taurus rising, already have a lot of earth. You're already very grounded. And the sun right now is moving through your 2nd house, which is a very grounded, earthy, stable, independent house. So I am getting the feeling that you guys have that energy going on. And now it's just opening up more to the feminine receptive energy, which is the water element. You know, when you go into the water, you're kind of moved by the tides, you're moved by the current. So there's an element here of trusting and surrendering a little bit more. I am getting this feeling a little bit of control, but you're really protected. The turtle has its shell, and the shell is strong, and it can't be just killed by anything, because it's here to protect it. And so I'm getting the sense that if you can just release a little bit of that control, surrender to the flow, and be open to receiving, you're going to start feeling a lot better. So that is what I see for you guys, Taurus risings. And if this resonates, please comment down below and like the video and subscribe, of course. And if you're interested in joining the North Node Society to learn more about astrology and your purpose, you can do so using the waitlist link below. Bye. All right, up next we have Gemini Rising. So for you guys, this full moon in Sagittarius eclipse is happening lunar eclipse is happening in your 7th house of relationships. So yeah, whenever I see it in the 1st, 7th, 4th, and 10th houses, I'm definitely getting a sense of bigger shifts happening. And it's weird, I just pulled this card for the last group. I got the 8 of Swords. It says self-victimization. I think the lighting is kind of bad, so I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Self-victimization. So I mean, with Geminis, it's easy to be like, okay, where are you getting in your head? Because as an air sign, and with Mercury moving through your sign right now, and Venus moving through your sign as well, I'm definitely getting the sense that you guys have probably heightened communication, but also like speed of thinking, like overthinking is what I'm trying to say. That's really what I'm getting from this is overthinking. And you guys also have the Knight of Pentacles, efficiency. So I'm getting this energy of building here. And I love that you guys have Venus in your sign, because normally there's an element of basically being more blessed to receive opportunities, and I really feel like fiscal rewards. So whenever you have Venus in your sign, not only are you more attractive, but you're more able to receive connections that can help bring you more money and just kind of bring you more money. It's basically what I wanted to say. I also pulled the Queen of Cups, sensitivity. I'm not getting the sense that it's sensitivity. I feel like it's more intuition and trusting your third eye, trusting your inner wisdom coming through here. Okay. So I also pulled the malachite crystal for you guys. And I'm just going to read what that one says to get an idea of what's going on. Okay, you've got a lot to learn about yourself, and this malachite stone is here to remind you that you're in the process. Take it easy on yourself. Your guides sent malachite with a message not to push yourself too hard or be too harsh. It's okay to be a work in progress. The process is never complete. Parts of it, of course, become accomplishments, but then new goals and milestones will immediately arise. That's the nature of life. Instead of attempting to become a finished product of perfection, work to polish yourself to evolve into a tool for positivity in your life. Yeah, I feel like this Eight of Clouds is basically saying that. Like, maybe you guys are overthinking things and you're honestly probably being a little bit too hard on yourselves, and you're not giving yourself credit for where you are in this process right now. And this could come in terms of relationships, because this eclipse is happening in your 7th house of partnerships. You might feel like relationships become a source of overthinking or insecurity, or you're just not giving yourself maybe credit for how great you are as a partner, or your ability to attract the right partner, or just how amazing you are as a friend and in relationships in general. I also got the cheetah energy, which to me feels like a lot of confidence. If this were a card in tarot, this would be the Eight of Wands. This really fast-moving energy, and it's got that solar plexus, yellow-orange kind of color coming in, and basically saying you can move as fast as you want if you believe in yourself. I'm getting like this self-victimization and this judgment of where you are in your process is actually what's slowing you down. And knights are actually... I feel like the Knight of Pentacles is one of the slowest cards in the tarot deck. So I'm getting the sense that you guys are maybe building something long term, and you might feel like you're not where you want to be. Like it's a little bit too slow for you guys. And I feel like what the universe is saying is that you are starting to make ground and make headway, but your belief in yourself and the way that you talk about yourself and how good you are and where you are at makes a really big difference to where you end up. So if you keep criticizing yourself or becoming your own victim, you're going to slow your progress down, because you're putting all this negative energy in the way, and you're not able to fully receive your blessings that are trying to come through as Jupiter is moving through Pisces in your 10th house of career. So I do feel like this square with Jupiter in your 10th house is saying that the blessings want to come to you through your career. They're going to likely come through in terms of the people around you, because this eclipse is happening in your 7th house. You're probably going to start finding that your friends or your connections or some people that are around you, you're going to start seeing opportunities come through them. You're going to see that once you pair up with working with someone, that you're going to have a lot more opportunities to find clients, or maybe you just find clients on your own, because 7th house can also represent being close with your clients or signing contracts and having like new growth opportunities come through in some legal matters and justice and things like that. But I'm definitely seeing this kind of alter your career path. So anyway, I feel like you guys are going to have these avenues start to pop up through different people, and it's going to help build your career and your legacy. But you really have to believe in yourself and move past these self-victimization, this self-doubts, and this lack of confidence in order to start making progress. You have to be sure of yourself. This cheetah runs and does not doubt or even think twice about where to put its foot. And I feel like that's what it's saying here, is this is an instinct. It is an intuition. And it's saying for you to follow this instinct and intuition and not try to plan and have all the answers figured out right now, because maybe that's not really where you're supposed to be. Maybe you're supposed to have just one foot in front of the other and kind of understand your career that way. And I definitely see that because you have Mercury and Venus and Gemini in the first house, which is going to help you a lot. It's going to help you understand your life a lot and attract more things to you. However, it's making a square to Neptune in your 10th house of career. But I feel like you guys are not meant to have a super clear picture of everything right now, because even though Mercury and Venus are in your first house, attracting things to you, giving you some clarity about your life, giving you some direction, I feel like all that direction is meant to be is for right now in this moment, because these planets are also making a square to Neptune in the 10th house, which is basically saying that your path is meant to unfold in a very serendipitous, synchronistic way. Neptune is here from the universe. It's like the messenger of the universe, especially when interacting with Mercury. It's like merging the intellectual earth mind with the higher mind of the spirit. And so I feel like these two are communicating, and they're not just communicating through like the normal methods. It's like through signs and synchronicities and things finally falling into place. But if you're trying to figure out, okay, what does this mean for me in a year from now? What is this going to move into or develop into? You're not going to know. And so I feel like that's what this is saying, to just make your plans with these Knight of Pentacles. Make your plans, but trust your intuition and not try to feel like you have to fit this into a known box. It's great to have plans so you have an idea, but to really go with the flow, because I feel like those are definitely going to be adjusting over time. And again, to develop this sense of confidence, because you guys also have Mars and Cancer in the second house. The second house has a lot to do with our self-worth and confidence. And so Mars coming through here is trying to uplift you, is trying to be like, yeah, you can fucking do this. You've got this. Use your masculine energy to protect yourself so that you can cultivate that self-confidence. If someone comes and tells you who you are or how you do things and they criticize you, use that masculine energy as a boundary to say, no, that's not coming in. I don't believe that. That isn't true. I'm going to protect my core inner Queen of Cups who knows how much I'm worth. And so the fact that Mars is in your second, also making a trine to Neptune in the 10th, I feel like that's saying as you develop this confidence, you're going to see a lot more forward momentum coming through in your career. That's what this cheetah feels like to me. It feels like Neptune coming in and being like, you've got blessings. Jupiter coming in and be like, you've got blessings. You just have to believe in yourself, trust your gut, and not have to have this full clear picture. And just remember to tune into the people around you, because opportunities are going to come through people. It's either going to be through clients, it's going to be through pairing up with somebody, through your partner. There's going to be something coming through others. So just be very close, just pay very close attention to who is around you and what they're trying to give you. So don't block your blessings by not working with somebody, by not trying to go out with somebody when they ask you to go out. Take those opportunities to do that. Say yes to those things, because that can lead you down a path where you start to receive these blessings from Jupiter. So this looks super positive, Geminis. I'm excited for you. And if this resonates, please like and comment down below. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology and your purpose, then I highly suggest you joining the North Node Society waitlist, which is down in the description box below. Talking way too fast. Okay, have a great one. Bye. All right, up next we have Cancer Rising. So for you guys, Cancer, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your 6th house of work, health, daily routines, small pets. Okay, interesting. 8 of Wands, action. So I love to pull some tarot and oracle cards to go along with these messages. And indecision, 2 of Swords. I am reading them upright, even though these popped out reverse. So if you want to read them reversal, do that. Okay, interesting that you guys got indecision come out. I do feel like I want to pull one more card. Because action and indecision, I feel like, well, what's the outcome? You know, I feel like action came out first. So you want to take action, you start to take action, but then you have indecision about something, lack of clarity about something, which honestly a lot of us do right now because of the Mercury-Neptune square going on. There's an inherent lack of clarity in terms of what the fuck's going on. Seek truth. Okay, that's so weird. Someone else already got this. It's weird because you do have Jupiter and Neptune in the 9th house, which is all about seeking truth. And then the last group who had this card had the moon happening in their 9th house. So the 9th house, you guys, seeking truth. I feel like the seeking truth element is really a lot about what's true for you. And I feel like the best way to determine what's true for you is honestly to do that with your intuition. You know, it's like if you try to always do that with what's going on in your mind, that's what leads to this stalemate here with this indecision. Like you can really only decide something that is true for you and you know it's right for you if it's coming from the heart. Because the mind throws in so many different voices and society's expectations, and it just dumps into you. When really what you need to do is check in here and feel it in your body. Like, do I get chills? Do I have my stomach drop? What is the sensation that my intuition is telling me to listen to? I also pulled the moonstone for you guys. I have a feeling that the moonstone is very intuitive because the moon in astrology is the feminine, is the intuitive side. So let me just look that up, what the moonstone is. Mama Moon is calling you through the mystical messenger of Moonstone. This gem helps you see beyond the veil of human existence and attune yourself to the cycles and rhythms of the natural world. Human life is always rushing about to and from someplace, overcoming something and accomplishing or achieving a milestone, only to set your sights on the next one. Nature is much more patient, peaceful, and powerful in its approach to life. Just as the moon coaxes the tides toward and away from the shore, she can lull you into an effortless flow of clarity and serenity. I love that. So yeah, I feel like this is a lot of the feminine nature, which is not only about trusting your intuition, but trusting where you're at in life, trusting the current cycle that you're in, and trusting that when you listen to your intuition, that even though you can't see what's ahead of you, it's going to work out well for you. So I feel like that's a lot of what this indecision is about, is kind of you, I mean, I don't know what you're deciding about, but this indecision is basically saying something lacks clarity in your life, but you actually already know the answer. And it's just more about trusting than it is about trying to figure more stuff out with your mental body. Okay, I pulled the crocodile as well, which again is also very intuitive. It's an amphibian, so it's a land and water creature. And also what really stands out to me about the crocodile is that they're so ancient. I mean, I wonder how far they do go back, but I believe that they are dinosaurs, or kind of like dinosaurs. They're really old, you guys. They're very, very old. They've been around for so long. And so what I'm getting the feeling is that I feel like you guys have some part of you that maybe has been around for a really long time and wants or needs to come to the surface. Like there's maybe some, and I almost kind of feel like it's your higher self. You know, it's like, just like the crocodile somehow lives through all these different eras, through all these different changes to the planet, to the environment and everything like that. The thing that is eternal in you is your soul and your higher self. So I feel like it's saying to connect to that deeper part of you that has lived across lifetimes, that has been this eternal thing, that has survived all these ups and downs and cycles. And so much more than just this ephemeral life that you have right now. So I feel like I feel like this is really deep, you guys. This is you tapping into and connecting to that inner light and wisdom, again, that has learned so many lessons through so many different lifetimes. And it's saying to not make this decision from the mind, but from that place, if you feel like you have a decision to make. So, okay, so maybe this is why, because you guys have Mercury and Venus and Gemini, which is in your 12th house. So Mercury and Venus are great together. I think it's going to make your mindset a little bit more optimistic or just like happier in general. But being in the 12th house is honestly not the best house for Mercury to be in the sense that you're not going to be able to tap into like total clarity about your life right now, because the 12th house is where things go to be unseen. So they are literally hidden from us. So when a planet is there, when it's in there in your natal chart or moving through there, there's a lack of awareness around that planet's topic. There is something unseen. There's something happening on a deeper level energetically as well. So how you can work with Mercury here, because Mercury rules your mindset, your understanding, your communication, that being unseen is kind of like putting your brain outside your body in a jar and be like, I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. And so I feel like what that's basically saying is that the only way to truly tap into this and make a decision and have clarity is through your intuition, because you're not going to gain clarity at this time, especially because Mercury is also making a square to Neptune in the ninth house. So I feel like that long-term vision for you guys is just blurred and you're not meant to see it right now, and that's okay. Neptune is also making a trine to Mars in Cancer in your first house. So I feel like you guys are actually feeling kind of like spunky and energized. And I think that's where the Eight of Wands is coming from. This action card, having Mars move through your first house, is literally going to give you that jolt of energy that you need to see your goals through to fruition. But you might feel like you are stalling yourself because you're not sure. But I'm getting the sense that you're supposed to just take that leap of faith, trust your intuition, trust the flow of the universe and that deeper part of your soul, and move forward with the same tenacity and energy that you normally would, because this Eight of Wands is saying don't hold back. Like, Mars is in your sign. Mars is in your first house. Like, this is a time when you're physically energized, mentally maybe you're not clear, but mentally energized. Like, you've got this. So yeah, let's talk. I feel like I've talked a lot, but I haven't really mentioned the fact that this is in your sixth house. So maybe your decision coming through is about work, because the sixth house has a lot to do with us working for somebody. It doesn't have to be the case, but for a lot of you, there might be some like make it or break it, or like big life altering decision in terms of your job. For others of you, it might be the life altering decision that you need to make to take better care of your health, or maybe those are intertwined, because the way, what we do every day definitely impacts our health. So there's something here that you need to make a decision about in terms of your daily routine, your work, or your health, or even your pet, that needs to be altered. And I feel like you've maybe been blocking yourself, but the universe is saying now is when you have the most energy, because Mars is moving through your sign. It's been moving through your sign, but it's not going to be moving through there that much longer. So this is your time to take advantage of it. And you don't want to ruin this right now or blow this perfect moment to take action because of indecision, when actually the universe is behind you saying, now is the time to act. Just trust your intuition and kind of free fall into this new cycle of your life that's going to carry you forward. And the fact that the moon is making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the ninth, I feel like that's saying that you're going to start getting more clarity once you make that decision. You might not have the full picture, but I feel like you're going to start feeling more optimistic, feeling clearer, and you're going to feel better about your life direction once you make this decision about your work, your health, your daily routine, or your pets. So that's the vibe that I'm getting for you guys. It might not be just like that. Maybe this is a specific message for some Cancers, but I'm definitely getting the feeling that you guys have a lot of goodness ahead of you. It's just about really trusting yourself to make the right decision, and anything coming from your intuition and higher self is the right decision. And what I always say to myself is, the right decision is the decision that I make. And it basically just means that you're going to have your own back. So no matter what, you're making the right decision. Even if you learn a lesson from it, you're making the right decision, because you're coming out a different person and more wise. So yeah, so that's what I see for you guys. If this resonates, please like or comment down below. And if you're interested in learning about astrology or your purpose, then I highly suggest you join the North Node waitlist, which is North Node Society waitlist, which is linked down in the description box below. Have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Leo Rising or Leo Ascendant, or of course Leo Sun if you wanted to watch for your sun sign. So for Leos, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your fifth house of creative self-expression and children and dating and just like all the joys in life. I pulled the World card, the Ascension card. And yeah, so I'm just going to be doing some cards. Why do I keep getting this? A lot of these groups are having overlap. It's very weird. So the last group had this card and now you do too. Two of Swords, indecision. So yeah, I like to pull tarot cards because I feel like it helps clarify a lot about what I'm seeing. And then last card, Knight of Swords, ambition. Okay, interesting. Looks like that's not focusing. Whatever. You guys get the vibe. Okay, so this is interesting Because generally, having an eclipse happen in the fifth house is going to be very positive, because the fifth house is I'm sure I mentioned this many times, but the fifth and the 11th house are basically houses that continue to grow. So like the efforts, the attention, the things and energy that we put into the fifth house, over time it grows. So it's kind of like planting a seed in our life, and it matures as we get older, and we start to bear the fruit as we get older. So this is a really great house for seeing positive outcomes later down the line. And I pulled the Lamb card. That's also interesting as well, because when I think of the fifth house, I also think about sometimes a little bit about like the more impure desires of life, like, oh, not that sex is impure, but you know, like having sex with random people, gambling, doing drugs, like just spending money maybe more than you should. Like that also generally can fall in the fifth house as somebody with like a gambling addiction, porn addiction. Like they might have some negative planets in the fifth house. But then I pulled the Lamb card, which is like this card of just pure innocence. So I find that really fascinating. I'm just going to pull the top card of these. Crystal. I find that really fascinating that this eclipse is happening in the house where we typically have the more like desirous stuff happening. And then I pulled the Lamb card, which is all about innocence and I feel like freedom in a way, because innocence and naivete, maybe I shouldn't say naivete, but innocence in general feels very freeing. You know, you don't have the energy of the world weighing down on you where you have cynicism and you're trying to avoid that and avoid your negativity through gambling and all those things. I feel like the Lamb card might be an advice card a little bit here to say, if you have vices, if you have things that are like not so innocent that you've been holding on to kind of deal with your emotions and deal with your indecision and deal with your lack of clarity in life or deal with your frustration. I feel like it's saying to choose the path of innocence instead of using vices to help with that, essentially. And I especially feel like that's kind of coming through because this moon is also making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the 8th house. And the 8th house is the house of shadow work. So I feel like you're moving through some shadows with Jupiter here. And Jupiter is enlightening you to what those shadows are. It's kind of pinpointing what that might be. And with Pisces in the 8th house, there can be a tendency to be an escapist, to maybe want to avoid facing some of those darker parts of life and of yourself. And I feel like what it's saying is that you are this lamb, and you also have shadows though. And maybe I feel like it's time to accept them and not use maybe some of these other methods of escapism to not face them or to not face some of these like dark realities of your life or life in general. Because this indecision card, I mean, I'm sure for some of you, there is indecision occurring in your life, but really the feeling that I'm getting from it is more like just lacking mental clarity because of maybe substances or because of the way that you're spending your time. It's almost like you're not really taking the time out to reflect on your life, and instead you're kind of like bulldozing things. So maybe you haven't fully addressed some certain issues lately. I feel like there's probably more than one message here, but that is one of the messages coming through with this eclipse happening in the 5th house is like, are you using things to cope? Are you using 5th house methods to cope? And maybe it's time to let go of them and step more into this like lamb energy of innocence. Before I move on, let me just look up what this Samadhi quartz means. So look at that. That's so pretty. So the Samadhi quartz says, dreams are more than movies that play in your mind while you sleep off the day. They're visions delivered deliberately to you to help you clarify your intentions, integrate your experiences, and channel guidance directly from the universe. Samadhi Quartz comes to ask you to pay close attention to your dreams as they bring you vivid and invaluable information about your spiritual journey here on Earth. Yeah, I love that because I do feel like Jupiter in Pisces is giving us all across the board a heavy emphasis on our dreams, and it can give us the possibility to have more predictive dreams as well as dreams that will help you uncover some of your shadows. And having Jupiter in Pisces and moving through the 8th house, I feel like is essentially just saying that your shadow work might not always be done on the external level. I think a lot of it is actually going to be processed in your dreams. So I don't know how much of this has to be effortful, but I feel like in order to even have clear dreams, you have to be mindful of the way that you're using your mind while awake. So for example, if you smoke a bunch of weed before bed, you won't remember your dreams. Maybe you will have them. I don't even know if you have them, but maybe you'll have them, but you don't remember them. So it's like stuff like that where you're kind of impeding the natural ability to work through these shadows that wants to come through for your dreams. That can happen if you have any kind of like substance abuse and things like that. Okay. You guys also have Mercury conjunct Venus in Gemini in your 11th house. So this feels really good to me in terms of your relationships and your sense of community. I feel like you're probably going to be feeling good around this time. You're probably going to be feeling like people are really listening to you and communication is going well. Your friends are asking you to hang out. You're maybe meeting new connections. Maybe you're dating because this moon is in the 5th house of dating. So I definitely feel like in terms of social aspect, this is a really good time for you. And yeah, just great time to date and make connections. However, this is also making a square to Neptune in the 8th house. So I feel like even though you're feeling good and like interacting with people in a really positive way and making connections, I actually still feel like there is some shadow work that needs to be worked. There's some shadow work that needs to be done in order to improve your longevity of your relationships, in order to improve the health of your relationships long term, is what I'm trying to say. I feel like Neptune in the 8th with Jupiter in there as well, I feel like there's just this general focus on you kind of releasing things. And sometimes when they're not fully released, they might crop up in relationships without us realizing it. So that could like impact your communication, and it can make somebody not fully understand you, or maybe you don't even fully understand you because you have to work through some of those things, and that ultimately impacts your relationships and communication. So I feel like the processing that you need to do definitely needs to be done in your sleep, but you need to make conscious efforts in your waking life to kind of remove any crutches that you use to relax your mind or ease your mind. And again, I feel like you need to allow yourself to kind of process whatever comes up and take time for it. Otherwise, it's impacting your relationships. But ultimately, I feel like your relationships are feeling really good. And I feel like if you do take that time alone, especially with Mars and Cancer in your 12th house, if you do take that time alone and like meditate or do a hypnosis, or even just write out your dreams, like do a dream journal, any kind of focus on the subconscious mind is going to be really helpful in healing those shadows, because I think a lot of those shadows are ultimately stored there. And okay, yeah, so I feel like that's just like the overview of what's coming through so far. I do have 2 more cards. I have the Ascension and the Ambition card. So I do feel like you guys are coming into an up-leveling. Whenever the World card comes, it feels like there is a transition. I feel like, yeah, there's a transition into a higher level of thinking or into a new way of being. Because this ascension, the world says ascension, I feel like you're ascending up a level. So like you finished a certain level and now you're ascending to another one. Intuitively, the feeling though that I'm getting is that you guys have to kind of overcome some of these vices and maybe do some dream work to release some of these maybe shadows from the past cycle before you can ascend to the next one. Or maybe you are ascending and that's like some of the last kind of things that you need to wrap up to feel like there's a full completion there. And I feel like you guys have the desire to do it because of this Knight of Swords card. I feel like you guys have a desire to master your mind, to use your work ethic and your ambition to conquer your mindset and not be living in this feeling of like indecision or fatigue in the mind or overthinking or just lacking clarity in your life in general. I feel like that's just like a general mood that you guys have been going through, but now you're feeling like you're motivated to do something about it and maybe kind of clear up some of these old habits or tendencies that might keep you stuck in that phase. And as you start to do that, you're going to start ascending to the next level, and you're going to have the positive aspects of the eclipse happening in the 5th house, where these efforts that you've put into really managing your mind is going to ultimately come to fruition long term for you. You're going to see those seeds be planted, and then maybe in a few years from now, these aspects will be highlighted again or triggered again, and you'll see how far you've come in your relationships. You'll see how this work that you've done on yourself is going to translate into being really happy and communicating clearly and feeling like you're able to connect with people without things standing in between you. I feel like you're going to finally let some things go from the past in relationships, and maybe you'll start to date and turn over a new leaf or start a new romantic cycle, or just start a new cycle where you're feeling more like life is a little bit more fun. Like life is a little bit lighter now than it has been in the past. So it doesn't have to necessarily be romance, but I do see that oftentimes coming with the 5th house. Or again, it could be children. So like a new cycle kind of starting with your children where things feel easier, where things feel lighter. But again, you have to move past these some of the more negative thinking, some of the more indecisive thinking, just like overthinking, that kind of thing. It's time to release a lot of that. And the way to do that, again, is through processing your dreams, like writing those dreams out, moving away from addictive tendencies or gambling or overdoing it tendencies, and stepping into more of like your innocence, your divine innocence. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing for Leos. If you resonate with this, please like and comment down below. The comments always mean so much to me, you guys. I just can't say thank you enough for them. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology or your purpose, then I highly encourage you to join the North Node Society waitlist, which is linked down below. Hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, and up next we have Virgo Rising. So Virgo, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, such a mouthful to say every time, is happening in your 4th house of home and family and roots. So yeah, whenever something happens in this house, I feel like it affects us on a deep emotional level. The 4th house is where we store our emotional tendencies, or kind of like fingerprints from childhood, where we've inherited a lot from our family, and it's just shaped our childhood life. 6 of Wands, victory. Wow, you guys. I'm feeling that whatever cycle you're stepping into is going to feel extremely victorious and positive for you. Oh, wow. Page of Wands, exploration. So I'm also seeing that you guys are going to have a lot more energy and vitality at this time. So if you've been feeling like, oh, I've been lacking that, I'm definitely seeing that coming through. Right now you have Mars transiting in Cancer through your 11th house. So this is such a wonderful time to use what vitality and energy you have to make more connections with people that can really help you move up in the world. You also have Jupiter in Pisces moving through your 7th house of relationships. So in terms of partners, wow, you're going to be feeling like you're on fire. You're going to be feeling like you're finally getting some stability in your relationships, in your close partnerships. And I think this sense of stability is really going to impact you, because having this full moon eclipse happening in your 4th house is your foundations, is your sense of stability, and it's making a square with Jupiter and Pisces in the 7th house of relationships. I feel like this square, though, for you is not coming through negative at all. Sometimes squares can represent a need to change or some negative aspect. But I feel like this square is coming through to say that your relationships are actually going to make you feel like you have this really strong foundation and feel really empowered in a way that you maybe haven't felt in a really long time. Like, I'm definitely getting the sense that you guys are powerhouses right now, and you're being extremely supported, and you're also being supported through your career. because you have Mercury conjunct Venus and Gemini in the 10th house of career. So this means that you're going to start attracting the people, the opportunities, the money to you in your career that you need, even the clarity as well. I don't know how much clarity is going to come through. I pulled the Amethyst card for you. I don't know how much clarity is going to come through because, I mean, there is still a square to Neptune. So I feel like the lack of clarity might be around your relationships in your career, or your relationships and its impact on your career, or how those things kind of will fit together in your life. Like maybe you have a partner and you're considering working with them, but you don't know really how that is going to play out, but you feel their support and that's helping you at least emotionally in this foundation to create your career. Or maybe you are wanting to make changes and you don't know really where your clients are going to be, where you're going to find them, or who they are. And so that's where you kind of aren't really totally sure. So I'm getting the sense that there is some sort of, you're going to have to trust other people during this time. You're going to have to trust that you're not going to have answers around topics related to other people, but it's going to feel good because you have Jupiter there. So you're going to have blessings. It's going to feel good. You're going to feel like there's a compassionate nature between you and other people, but you might still feel like something's not totally clear with that in terms of your career. Like I said, you might not know how your current partnership is going to work when you start this new career, or if you, I don't know, I'm trying to think of all these examples, but the examples are less important as like the essence of what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so I feel like you're going to have clarity coming through in terms of like what you enjoy in your career and general direction, but you're not really sure how this is going to impact your relationships or how that's going to be long-term for your partner or with your partner or with your clients, some intimate relationship that you're going to have. Like there's some lack of clarity there. So I hope that that makes sense. Okay, also pulled the mouse card, and to me the mouse card is somebody who's focusing on all the little details, which definitely gives me Virgo vibes. I think Virgos are very zoomed into the details, just like the mouse is, and because of that, Virgos can tend to worry, just like the mouse does. The mouse is in fear, running around in the dark, and it knows where it's going and what it wants, but sometimes it gets so caught up in the piece of cheese or dirt or whatever in front of it that it can lose sight of what is long-term or lose sight of the bigger vision. So I feel like this is more of a reminder for you guys to not get caught up worrying about the details, because you're going to be victorious. You have the Six of Wands here. Whatever decisions you're making in terms of your career right now is going to be very positive. I do feel like you're in this stage of exploration where you're not really going to have everything figured out in your career right now, or maybe you're making some changes and that involves some element of the unknown or some element of exploration, or some element of exploration in terms of your relationships or your type of client that you work with. There might be some adjustments happening in that area of your life as well. I'm seeing some things not being figured out necessarily, but you ultimately are going to be victorious. But in the process, somewhere along the way, you might get a little bit caught up in the details and worry about how things are going to work out, when actually you don't need to worry about it yet, because it's not something that you need to worry about yet, essentially. I also pulled the Amethyst card, which is really about you cultivating and trusting your intuition. So I'm getting the sense that what's going to help you stop worrying and surrender a little bit more to your journey is just trusting in this process that the universe has your back, and that you can trust your intuition and it's not going to lead you astray, and that you don't have to worry. Worry comes from a sense of feeling like we can control things, and we can't control things. But the best that we can do is make decisions from our heart and follow through with them with energy and trust and confidence. And I feel like you guys are going to be doing that at this time. And I feel like the support that you're getting from your relationships is ultimately going to transform the foundations of your life. I feel like the things that are happening and altering in your career and your relationships are going to change your home, are going to change your emotional nature, are going to change the way that you view yourself, are going to change your finances. So kind of like all the pillars of our foundation, which is where this eclipse is taking place, again, in the 4th house of home and family and foundation. I feel like all those things are going to be altered by the things that are coming through in terms of your career and your partnership. I also feel like your friends are going to be really supportive at this time because Mars is in Cancer in the 11th house. So it's not even like you're just getting support from your partner. You're also getting support from outside people who can come in through the internet, who can come in through that yoga class that you went to, or some kind of sense of community. There's definitely people dropping into your life for a purpose now, for a reason now, to ultimately give you a lot of support. And then it's going to give you the freedom to explore because you have the support and you know you're going to be victorious and you're trusting your intuition and you're not worrying about all these little details. So because of that, you're ultimately going to find a lot of success, and it's going to allow you to change at a very foundational level, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like you guys are going to honestly be really surprised over this next 6 months, which is typically when eclipses take place, obviously on this day, but they're felt for much longer. And oftentimes the events take place much later. So sometimes it doesn't always resonate right now. But I feel like for you guys, the long-term thing is that you're going to be victorious. But I think you're going to be surprised at how much you change right now. Like, not right now, but in this next 6 months. I feel like you guys are going to be shocked to look back and realize that your emotional nature was way different. The way that you spent your time was way different. Where you lived was way different. What you even expected for your life was way different. Because you had the confidence and support to explore and trust that you knew what you were doing till you ultimately found some positive breadcrumbs that led you somewhere beneficial and somewhere that feels expansive for you. And then I feel like things start to kind of fall in place and come together. So that's all I have for you guys, Virgos. If this resonates, please like and comment down below. Just keep in mind again that the eclipses take a while to manifest. You're not feeling this now. It might not be time yet. It might take a little bit longer. And I am super excited for you. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology, or you're interested in learning about your purpose and overcoming some limiting beliefs and shadows, I highly recommend you sign up for the North Node Society waitlist, which is linked down below. Hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Libra Rising. So for you guys, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your 3rd house of communication, of your mindset, of your siblings, of your local neighborhood. So sometimes, a lot of times with like 3rd house stuff, I see a lot of movement and activity and busyness. So it's possible that you guys could have a lot going on around this time. You feel like you might be attracting a lot more opportunities and people and work experiences into your life that are kind of setting you into this like flurry of energy. That's very possible around this time. I pulled the Strength card, which is a Lion or Leo energy. So it's possible you could be working right now with either cultivating more confidence and Leo energy, or maybe you're literally just getting to know somebody who is a Leo. Or maybe you're being more seen at this time and stepping up into more of a leadership role, which is very Leo, kind of performing in a sense. Wow, I definitely feel like you guys are cultivating a greater sense of wealth. I think if you are stepping up and being seen in bigger ways at this time, I feel like you are becoming wealthy because of it, because I pulled the King of Pentacles. So I feel like this King of Pentacles is not like, okay, just for funsies, I'm just going to give you money. Like, no, this King of Pentacles, you've worked your butt off. This is effort. This is time. This is slow building. And this is also a lot of internal work that comes from this. A lot of self-compassion, a lot of self-understanding, a lot of self-confidence that leads you to being able to build this kind of foundation that the King of Pentacles can give you in a financial sense. You also have a home foundation with the Four of Wands. This is about either getting married or buying a house or creating a greater sense of stability within the home. Maybe you're moving homes. That was like one of the first things that I saw with this eclipse in the 3rd house is like movement. But I feel like movement towards stability is a sense that I'm getting here with this Wealth and Homecoming card. I'm definitely getting the sense that the inner stability came first with this Strength card, and then the outer stability starts to come in all around you with the wealth and the home and the relationships that are also going to be cultivated at this time. But I do feel like a lot of this movement and change is ultimately going to be it's ultimately going to impact things all the way down to like your everyday lifestyle, because Jupiter right now is moving through Pisces in your 6th house of everyday routines. So I am getting the sense that like this movement is gonna, again, like kick up the dust and like kind of perturb things and make your mind move really quickly. And so you might have to establish a different kind of daily routine. You might have, if you work for a business, you might have a lot more tasks on your hand. Or if you have your own business, you might have way more clients than usual and have just a lot more responsibilities on your plate. But I'm getting the sense that they're good responsibilities that you're fucking excited for, because they're opportunities or things that you've been cultivating and working towards for a long freaking time, and you guys deserve them because you have the king energy. You have become the king. You have mastered what you have put time into, and you deserve the things that are coming to you now. So I do feel like, though, with this moon in the third house, it could also not only create a lot of movement in terms of your physical location and your activity and your busyness, but also your mind. I'm getting the sense here that your mind could be really agile at this time and kind of taking on a lot, processing a lot of information. It could be adapting a lot to the new environment. You're going to have to see yourself from this new perspective. You've already been working on this with the Strength card, this desire and this need to really view yourself as the King of Pentacles, as this master of your craft, as this compassionate and strong leader. But I am also getting the sense that this is something that you've just kind of touched the tip of the iceberg with. And as you step into more of your light, and as you're seeing more, and as you cultivate more opportunities, you're going to see that you have to kind of change your perception of yourself and see yourself in a new light. See yourself as somebody who's more stable, or see yourself as that king who's able to manifest and master and bring into life what it wants. I feel like you guys are stepping into some big energy. Wow, I pulled the golden egg in that exact moment. The golden egg definitely gives me big energy vibes. Let me look up what it says before I keep running my mouth. Within the golden egg lives a precious sound. Deep within that sound resides a message. The sound cannot be heard, nor the message discerned until we retreat from the noise of modern day life. The magical essence of the golden egg needs warmth, quiet, and time to unfold. No rushing, pushing, or grasping. Find a place of deep and restful ease, perhaps through yoga nidra or meditation. So it requires you to become intimate with your very essence and comfortable with vulnerability. When a feeling of gratitude and tenderness arises from deep within you, you know that you're well on your way. So this is listening to your heart. Message at the center of the heart, the unstruck sound. Okay, so I feel like this actually has multiple messages. The fact that it's golden and an egg, I feel like has a lot to do with you finding your nest, finding your home. And the golden aspect is you finding more wealth and prosperity. And I feel like you're literally just being given an opportunity right now to succeed. And now is your chance to reach out and grab it and take it. The other message coming through, which also talked about it here, is the need for the quiet, is the need to slow down and not grasp and not move. And it's interesting because this eclipse is happening in third house, which cultivates an enormous amount of movement in your life naturally. So I think what you're going to have to do is the antithesis of this, or the balance of this, is to make sure that you carve out and create that time of quiet and of solace, because I think you have to stay heart-centered. These are both very heart-centered signs, listening to your heart. And as a leader, as you're stepping up into these bigger and bigger roles, what is the most important part of a leader is their ability to tune into their heart and follow it. I think a lot of this is going to be trusting the path that lies ahead and any change that lies ahead. Because when you get swept up in the whirlwind or the tornado of life, it can kind of be like, it's almost like you lose control in a sense. And you're going to have to really stay centered with your heart in order to be in the eye of the storm and not swirling around on the outside like the cows and everything from that movie where there was like a golden road. What the fuck was that movie called? Alice in Wonder? No, not Alice in Wonder. She was like in Kentucky or something. Doesn't matter. No one cares. Okay. You know what I'm trying to say. So I just had a visual, so I wanted to like articulate that, but it feels kind of pointless. Okay, you guys also have Mercury conjunct Venus and Gemini in the 9th house. So I'm getting the sense that you're finally feeling more optimistic about life. Like you're excited that things are picking up. I'm definitely getting the sense that this busyness and these new routines and these new ways that you're challenging yourself feel really good, and they feel like you're really growing and expanding. It does, and it feels like this is you stepping into that leadership position. However, Neptune is also making a square to these planets, and Neptune is with Jupiter in the 6th house. So I feel like even though you're growing and expanding and you feel like this is really great, it might be a little bit challenging to make adjustments to your daily routines. Or if it's not challenging, it's almost like the mindset that comes in around your daily routines, or the clarity about what those shifts even need to be might not be fully divulged to you just yet. I feel like you're growing and expanding, but then there has to be like these little adjustments all along the way. So it's kind of like when you're growing and expanding your waistline, you might need to adjust your pants slightly more along the way. But it's almost like you have to keep doing it little by little, because in the moment, because you don't know how much weight you're going to gain or how much you're going to grow. And so I feel like there's kind of a lot of unknown in terms of what your life is going to look like, and going to be like, but you're having this long-term vision now, and it feels exciting. So it's a lot about trusting the things that are unfolding now in the moment, and having a more positive outlook about how your day is going to be, and not trying to grasp at this sense of control and planning it all, because I feel like you might have that vision, but visions change, events change, you change. And so I feel like any sense of control is going to limit your vision and limit you in the outcome. So just be really mindful of that. And Neptune in the 6th is also making a trine to Mars in the 10th. So again, you guys are going to have an enormous amount of energy in your career. I feel like people are going to start being magnetized towards your light. That's the sense that I'm getting with Venus and Mercury in the 9th. It's like you're cultivating a greater inner light. And I feel like people are going to start coming and being drawn to that. And you can use that as fuel in your career to start putting yourself out there more, to start putting the effort to being seen more, which has a lot to do with the Strength card, and making adjustments to your mindset and daily routine in order to step more into a leadership position. I also pulled the Moldavite card, and I'm pretty certain that Moldavite is the crystal that's actually from another planet. Yeah, so this is actually from a meteor, and it's basically saying, like, do you feel like you're from another planet? This crystal or this meteor is supposed to help humans transition into an age of unity, healing, and oneness. It forms a line of connection for communication between the human mind, the higher self, and the universe. So I feel like what this is saying actually is that if you believe in starseeds, I feel like you came in here as a starseed at this time for a very specific purpose. And I feel like what this is saying now is this card is saying that you are now being activated into what that purpose is and stepping up to be seen so you can make a bigger impact on the world, the environment, the friends, the family, the people that surround you in your local community. I feel like you're starting this ripple effect now where you're going to start using your gifts in a way that's going to impact people, and that's going to impact other people, and it's all going to kind of form, again, that ripple from there on out. So I feel like you creating this sense of stability and starting to develop wealth or find a new home, step into this leadership position, really tap into the strength and the golden egg within you and your voice and your heart within you. I feel like all of this is coming together right now at this specific time for a divine purpose that you assigned to yourself before you even came to this earth. And I feel like you're probably here to help people transition into a new state of consciousness, because right now we're at this point, this breaking point, where we're leaving the old behind and stepping into a new era with the age of Aquarius. And there has to be some guides here that have incarnated during this time to help us through that transition. And so whatever you're working on right now feels very on purpose. It feels like you're meant to be here, and it feels like you're doing what you're supposed to do to help people transition. So now it's just about stepping up into greater power within yourself so that you have an even greater impact on the world around you. So that's what I see for you guys, Libra Rising. If this resonates, please like and comment down below. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology and your life purpose, then sign up for the North Node Society waitlist, which is down in the description box below. We are launching on May 25th, and I can't wait to see you there. Have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Scorpio Rising. So for you guys, this full moon and lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your second house. Sorry, it's such a fucking mouthful to say that every time, and I'm amazed that I can even do it. Before I get into this Scorpio reading, I just wanted to say that I've really started to notice that I attract an immense amount of Scorpios into my life. Like, not just Scorpio suns, but a lot of Scorpio risings or Scorpio moons. Don't know what that's about. I definitely feel like I vibe with Scorpios a lot, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you're a Scorpio, I would actually love to know. Please comment down below because I want to know how many of you guys are out there and if that happens to be the way that I attract people online too. Because I did notice for a little while there that when I did separate videos, Scorpio would get like 3 times as many views as the other ones. And I was like, is there something about me that feels Scorpio in nature or what's going on here? Okay, wow, you guys are having a lot come through, and I'm very excited because having an eclipse in the second house is fucking bomb. In terms of finances, it's saying that you're having a total transformation of your finances, and I'm definitely getting the sense, I'm getting chills, I'm definitely getting a sense that your skills are up leveling to a major degree because the second house is where we cultivate our skills that we need to develop these finances. And then lastly, your hard work is finally paying off because I pulled the 8 of Pentacles. And having an eclipse in the second house means that all of this effort up till now is finally going to pay off in terms of physical resources coming through into your life. And that feels really, really exciting. Okay, I just want to pull one card. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to pull one like this. All right. Sodalite. Sodalite crystal. Wow, I'm like feeling really energized for you guys because I also pulled the Emperor card and the Chariot card, which if you know anything about tarot, these are basically saying that you have sure success ahead of you. But it's not just success that has been given to you for no reason. It's success that you've earned, that you've put an immense amount of time and effort into developing these skills, and you fucking deserve to take up space and to succeed. This Chariot card is telling me that this success is not going to come slowly. This success, just like an eclipse, is going to come quickly. So maybe it's not right now because eclipses can occur. So like the results of an eclipse can occur within 6 months after it takes place. So it might not occur right at this eclipse, but the sensation that I'm getting is that it's going to occur immediately. It's not going to be this like slow building process like it's been so far. I'm seeing an overnight change, an overnight success, and you feeling like, fuck, I finally get what I deserve. I finally am getting this success. And then I feel like you guys are finally going to start taking up space in your life. You're going to start owning your success. You're going to start feeling more confident and be like, yeah, this is me. I deserve this. And that's what the second house is about as well. It's a total change in your self-confidence because as you put in the hard work and you grow your skills, you become more confident in what you do. You're like, yeah, I'm going to own this. I'm going to take up space. I'm the emperor. I've created all of this for myself. I have this chariot success and it happened quickly because really, it hasn't been that quick because you've been building it for a long time. But for everyone on the outside, they're going to be like, wow, overnight success, you know. But for you, you know what it took to put in that energy to get to that place in the first place. So I'm definitely getting the sense that you guys are getting a long-deserved victory and finally seeing those finances come in for you. And I feel like the confidence, though, is going to be the biggest blessing. Like, you're going to be looking for the finances, but when the confidence comes, you're going to be like, this is what I actually always needed and wanted. And it's going to allow you to take up more space, to draw in more opportunities, and expand more because you believe in yourself on a deep soul level. Okay, Sodalite, what does this say? You are way too hard on yourself, sister friend. But don't let that be one more thing to beat yourself up over. Sodalite is here to help you face your shadow aspects with love, compassion, and patience. It opens the third eye so you can see yourself without judging who you are. So don't compare yourself and dislodge and displace the seeds of fear implanted deep within your subconscious that comparison and self-judgment feed on. Okay, don't compare, don't self-judge. Okay, so because this is taking place within the next 6 months, there might be a point in time where you look at somebody else's success around you, or you look at somebody else getting what they deserve, and you're like, well, where's mine? I'm not there yet. Or I'm not good enough because I'm not getting what they're getting. Like, what's wrong with me? Or why don't I have all the answers in my life right now? And I'm getting the sense here that you're being really hard on yourself. And I feel like this is part of what's going to change. But this is going to ultimately kind of trip you up and get in your way. I do feel like your manifestation is coming through regardless. However, I do feel like it's going to it's just going to come through better, stronger, and faster if you actually believe that this is coming through. And if you actually stop judging yourself and start being your own best friend and having compassion for yourself and giving yourself the energy to expand to whatever way you want to expand. Don't apologize for who you are. Don't apologize or feel like you shouldn't be getting the things that you get because you worked really hard for them. And I just want you to like own it, own your power, because that's all about what Scorpio is all about, is a relationship with your inner authority and your power. And this is your opportunity to let that shine through in a really strong way, in a really king-like or queen-like way, and you guys deserve it. This moon is also making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the 5th house. So first of all, I feel like this is really good in terms of just being able to enjoy the money that you do start to get. I feel like the 2nd house brings us the luxury, brings us the money, the finances, the confidence. And the 5th house is where we go and we take that and we enjoy it. We spend it. We use it. We travel. We hook up with people. We go to dinner. We bathe ourselves in fine wine or gifts or whatever. Oh, wow. Aw. So I got the butterfly card. So I definitely feel like you guys have gone through a really deep metamorphosis. And that's why I feel like this 8 of Pentacles came through so hard for me. I was like, this has been a long and hard road. You guys have put an immense amount of effort to get to where you are now. And sure, you might not be where you want to be. And that's what I get with the sodalite is like, you're never really going to feel like you're ever where you want to be if you keep up that mentality. But I'm getting the sense that the butterfly is saying you've done an immense transformation over this last even 3 months. And I'm getting the feeling that like you're finally starting to get your wings and you can expand, you can take up space, you can enjoy nature, you can go outside and be like, gosh, I feel good right now. I feel like I'm finally getting the things that I need to feel good. And that's what this butterfly is telling me. And I feel like this is giving you an immense amount of power. I feel like if I had to choose an animal that represented the emperor, maybe it would be this elephant here. The elephant is the biggest animal and it just can move things. It can just take its head and just chuck things out of the way. It can move whole trees. It can pick up people. It could maybe pick up a car. Like nothing is going to stand in your way. Once you get to this point and you allow yourself to take up space and have confidence in yourself, you're going to feel like nothing can stand in your way and you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. And I feel like that's why it's below the Chariot card, which says momentum. Like nothing's slowing you down. Nothing is stopping you. You're in your broomstick and you're flying away, bitch. Like no one's going to catch you now. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like this is so positive. I'm getting such positive vibes from this reading. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the square with Jupiter and Pisces, because I do want to add like a little asterisk, a little warning to this reading. As things start to come in strong for you, as you get the finances coming through, as you start feeling confident, feel good, just be really careful when it comes to enjoying yourself, because I definitely want to encourage you to enjoy yourself and take advantage of this time and soak it all up and enjoy this freedom of butterfly energy. However, with Jupiter, there is a tendency like you could be prone to excess is essentially what I'm just trying to say. So you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to spend all the money that you're getting or buy frivolous things or things that aren't going to really make a difference in adding up to your long-term security. I would say still use your wisdom and forethought and intuition in making decisions about how you're spending your resources that are going to come into you, because you deserve them, and of course spend them how you want and please yourself, but at the same time think long term, because the 5th house is where things tend to feel quite impulsive or short term, and then long term we kind of wish we made a different decision. So that's all I wanted to say with that specifically. You guys also have Mercury conjunct Venus and Gemini in the 8th house. So I feel like this is probably where this sodalite energy is coming in, because Mercury and Venus in the 8th house is kind of giving you the chance to work through some of the limiting beliefs that you've had so far. And I feel like you're doing that successfully. You have the Elephant card, which means that you're moving past your obstacles, any blocks, and you wouldn't be able to do that unless you were able to believe that you could and didn't have the shadow taking the wheel of your life. So I feel like any limiting beliefs and blockages are going to be moved through. Venus gives us blessings in that area. So I definitely feel like Venus is saying, hell yeah, we're going to change your mindset. You're going to start thinking better. You're going to be more optimistic. You're going to start believing in yourself that you're able to achieve these things now. But again, it's making a square to Neptune in the fifth. So I feel like what could trip you up is you may be overindulging in things or, okay, sorry, my camera just died. So basically what I was saying is I feel like where you can get tripped up is overindulging in things or possibly just like having larger than life expectations. Like I'm getting the feeling of excess of something here. Excess in your mindset, in your confidence, in your spending habits, in your drinking habits, in your eating, in your dating, in your sex life, like traveling, whatever it is that can kind of deter you from this hard work that you've put in. Deter you. I don't mean deter you, but like you've been putting in this Eight of Pentacles, you've been putting in this hard work, and then you finally get the results that you want, and I could see you kind of kicking back and relaxing and enjoying it. But actually, of course you should do that, but actually you're also meant to keep working hard. So I would say the balance is going to be key here, and balance might be the hardest for you at this time with these placements, with these aspects. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Scorpio Rising. This looks very positive, the best reading I've done so far, and I'm very psyched for you guys to get some long-deserved rewards. And I hope that you enjoy it. If it resonates, please like and comment down below. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology, how to read your own chart, how to understand your purpose, then join the waitlist for the North Node Society, which I linked down in the description box below. Have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Sagittarius Rising. So for you guys, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your first house, or wherever your sun is taking place, or wherever your sun is in your chart, I mean. So yeah, wow, this is going to be really big for you guys. Very foundational. It's hitting, some of these aspects or these planets are hitting your most important areas of your chart, your first, fourth, and seventh house. The only thing I don't see activated necessarily is your 10th house, but Jupiter, even being in your fourth house, is going to activate your 10th house and give you some more opportunities in career. But yeah, wow, this looks really, really crazy for you guys in a really big way. So having an eclipse in your first house makes you change yourself. It makes you change your personality or your appearance or your life path. It's massive. And you guys are going to be undergoing many eclipses over these next like 30 days or so. And it's going to really rock you to your core and impact you on a fundamental level, but in a good way, in a really good way, even though it might feel destabilizing, because that's what eclipses do. Their ultimate goal is to bring us clarity, is to bring us happiness, is to bring us more in line with our purpose. And so even though it's destabilizing initially, ultimately it's very helpful. And you look back and you're like, thank God I did that change, or made that change, or did that thing. So this is going to be big, is what I'm trying to say. And so you're going to have these eclipses take place over the next month or so. And then after that, you're going to have no more eclipses in your sign for another 9 years. So the changes that you're making now aren't going to be happening every single year of your life. These are some big changes, you guys. Really, really big stuff. So I think it's going to be very important for you to keep an eye on what's going on in astrology over the next month or two, so you can see how this is going to impact you. I don't know why no cards want to fall out right now. Okay, whatever. It's also making, this eclipse is also making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the fourth house. So I feel like you guys are going to be feeling a lot better in terms of your home life. Oh my gosh. Six of Swords, transition. Yeah, I feel like you guys are definitely transitioning into a new way of being. You might be transitioning into a new home. Wow, Nine of Pentacles, abundance. You guys. Come on now. Look at all those pentacles. Look at that. That's going to be you guys just... I'm just seeing you guys like in a music video where you are like have a bathtub full of money and you're just like swimming in it. That's the vibe I'm getting. Okay. So I intuitively felt called to pull another two cards. This one was a Nine of Swords, anxiety. And then I pulled the Hanged Man, the Hanged One, surrender. Okay. That anxiety card, I'm getting the feeling that that's something that you're leaving behind. I feel like this transition that it's saying is like you're leaving this this old way of being behind, and that gives you a lot of anxiety. So the order I have it is surrender, anxiety, abundance, transition. Those are the orders of the cards. So the feeling that I'm getting here is that you have some really big changes coming up, which I already just said, and it's involving a lot of surrendering to the process at hand. So from my personal experience, I had some eclipses in my 10th house of career, lighting up my career planet, which is Mercury. And that year, what happened was I had the insight one day that I wanted to throw away everything I had done in my career and start again, start fresh with this business. So I had done my master's degree in basically in English education, more or less. And I had started a business on this. I had started a YouTube channel. I had worked on it extremely diligently for 1 year and honestly years prior to that as well in other ways. So I had put in well over like 5 to 7 years of intense effort. And I mean intense, where I would do this stuff and not hang out with friends because I'd be so busy on my computer. And then one day I was like, nope, that doesn't feel right anymore. I actually feel like I want to do this, but I'm not sure what it is exactly. I just know that I want to do something different. And I feel like this is kind of the general direction. So this business started off as self-care for entrepreneurs, and it ended up being something like more astrology based, because I just followed each step along the way. But what that took was an incredible amount of surrendering and ability to change my perspective in an instant. So what's coming through for you now is these big changes to your perspective about your entire life. It could be literally about your home and where you live, your family, or it could be around your career. It could be around your relationships, or it could be around your appearance and your personality. All the core aspects of your life. There's something that is going to undergo a deep perspective shift in like an instant, and it's saying to surrender to it. Don't try to fight this or try to think that it's supposed to be any different than how it is. Do not succumb to sunk cost bias, which is you worrying about all the time and the energy and effort you've put into something in your life. Throw it away if it's not in alignment, because as soon as you start something new, it's going to feel so much better. The feeling that I'm getting, though, with this anxiety card right next to the surrender is that it's going to feel very destabilizing, and this instant change and new ideas are going to give you anxiety, because following this is going to take an immense amount of trust. And up to this point, you've likely had your hand on the steering wheel, driving your life, having some sense of control. But when eclipse season comes, that goes out the window. And if you don't allow yourself to make these changes as the insights come in, then the universe will make those changes for you, and it will be a lot more painful. I am getting the sense, though, that you do eventually allow this anxiety to subside, or don't listen to it, at least in making your decisions. And you ultimately find this state of abundance where you feel happier doing what you're doing, even if you don't have all the clarity about what that is and where you're going. I'm getting the sense that you have a lot of stability still. So, and I feel like that's why it's making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the 4th. Like Jupiter is giving you this grounded home life, this grounded stability, this set amount of finances. I feel like you guys are being supported with stability, but there's a huge aspect of you and your life that's making shifts. So even though you're being stable, you're also changing, if that makes sense. Because I feel like this Nine of Pentacles comes in and says abundance. I don't feel like it's just abundance in one area. I feel like it's multiple areas of your life, especially your home, because Jupiter is there. So you probably have a really positive home life right now. But this abundance is coming in so that you can then transition. This was the next card after. So you can transition to a new way of being. You might not have done this or been able to do this or felt comfortable doing this if you didn't have this abundance first. A lot of people want to make big life changes, but so many things are in a flux that it's too much of a risk. I'm getting the sense that the universe is giving you enough stability so that it's only a slight risk and not enough of a risk that it's going to deter you from making the changes that you need to make. So if you have a job right now and you want to start a business, this is saying to do that. If you have a job and you have a partner who supports you, but you want to quit your job, this is saying to do that. You're having some kind of outside support so that it's not like you're doing this all on your own and then making a change would be nearly impossible. I'm getting the sense that your home is supporting you and you're able to make those changes without completely disrupting your life in the most, in a very difficult way. You guys also have Mercury and Venus conjunct in Gemini in your 7th house. So I'm definitely getting the sense that your relationships are really supportive to you right now as well. The home and family life and your relationship life feels really solid and really stable. So I feel like generally for the last few readings I've been getting that for you guys. That's something that's really stood out to me, is that if you're in a partnership, that partnership looks good. If you're in a home, that home looks good. I feel like your family might be getting along more than usual, or things just might be just feeling better in terms of your close relationships. I feel like you have that backbone there for you, and that's because you're about to go through these really massive changes, and you need some kind of support system to emotionally drag you through this in a very positive way. So if you're having anything come up in relationships, it's a great time to communicate about it. Okay. I pulled the Sapphire card. And I pulled the Dragonfly card. It's interesting because I feel like this Dragonfly has like a lot of lightness to it. It's just flying over the surface and you can hear it, but I feel like you can never feel the air from its wings. It's so light. It's almost like it's not even there. If it landed on you, you might not even be able to feel its weight on your skin. And I feel like that's what you're meant to be doing right now. I feel like there is some sense of maybe leaving behind things that feel heavier. Because what's interesting is I have this card, Surrender, where their leg is tied, and then underneath it I have the Dragonfly. So one is tied up and one is free, flying around, and so light. It feels like it's just, running across the glistening water type of thing. So I'm getting the sense that you start off in this state of needing to surrender, but you still have this like rope around your leg. You still have something tied onto you, but you're starting to stop like spazzing out as much. Like you surrender and you're like, okay, my leg is tied. And then you realize, okay, I need to just trust fall. So I'm going to stop having anxiety about this. I'm going to really trust this situation. And I'm going to fall right into it. So you untie that rope around your leg and you just fall down into this state of abundance and transition. And so I feel like you are turning into this Dragonfly where you're fully able to let go of anything that has been tying you down, holding you back, because that's what eclipses do. There's always an up-leveling happening when an eclipse happens in your sign. So it's saying that you're going to have this immense life transition, but you have to be light for it. You have to be free for it. So if you feel like there is some element holding you back in your life, and it could be around family, but it could not be, I don't know. It could be around home. Okay, just forget that. I'm not sure what it is that's holding you back, but whatever it is, there's a need to just let that go. So there's some burden, something from the past that has to be let go for you to find comfort in this transition and actually be able to do it. You wouldn't start a brand new hike with 11 backpacks on your back. You just wouldn't. So that's exactly what the universe is saying. Like, you need to let go of the backpacks. You need to let go of all the things that don't feel in alignment anymore. And then all these new things are going to start flooding into its place, and it's going to feel a lot more positive and beneficial to you. And your relationships are here to support you, you guys. I am getting the sense, though, because Neptune is in the 4th house, making a square to Mercury and Venus in the 7th, I am getting the sense that there might not be a complete understanding around your home life and your relationships. Like, there maybe you're having a good time in both your home and relationships, but there's like some misunderstanding or lack of clarity, or not being able to see what's ahead in terms of your home and how that relates to your relationships. So for example, if you're living with a partner, or if you're dating somebody, you don't know if you're going to live with them or when that might happen. Or if you're living with someone, you don't know when you would get married and create a family. It's like you don't have that clarity around that yet, but it's saying that that's okay. Like, you don't need to have clarity around that. I feel like not knowing what the future is of your home and family is part of what is meant to be right now. So if you feel like maybe you're having a lot of insight about what you need to let go, and you kind of have the sensation and intuition that you're going to have to move, or you're going to have to change locations for this to work, I am getting the feeling that that might be true, but that you don't know yet because Neptune is there making that square. So it's like, you don't know where that is. You don't know when that would be. You don't know the how. And so it's saying not to worry, just kind of let go and allow the things to unfold as they do. And Neptune in the 4th is also making a trine to Mars and Cancer in the 8th house. So I feel like a lot of this is about you processing old emotions and letting them go. So the 8th house is where things go to die. And Mars is in Cancer, which is a very emotional sign. So I feel like there may be a need to let go of some of this stability, like you have a lot of stability, but honestly, some of it needs to go. Some of it's there to support you, so to help you transition to the next level, and some of it's holding you back. So it's up to you to determine what part of this stability is actually a weight and what is a support system, because there's a really big difference. Sometimes people think that living in one place or being with this one person is helping them grow, or is stability, and then stability means you can grow into a really big thing. And I think that's true to an extent, but some things serve its purpose up until a certain time, and then it starts holding you back. So it's going to be really important to use your discernment and your intuition to decide what part of that stability is holding you back. Okay. Yeah, and this Sapphire card is literally saying you know what you need to do already. You're in touch with your truth of the situation, and your guides are nurturing you to keep going, and to just listen to your intuition, basically. So what I'm sensing is that you guys are going to have so many changes throughout this next period of your life that you are going to have to trust a lot of what comes in and not listen to other people at this time. If other people are telling you not to quit your job, not to move in with your partner, not to do this change, don't listen to them, because it's up to you and how your life is going to be, because you're the one who's going to have to deal with those consequences, and it's you only know what makes you happy. When I quit my other business and I put everything into this kind of overnight, I was really embarrassed to tell people, and I was nervous to tell people, and I kind of had this cop out where I was like, well, I'll just do both. I'll just do both businesses, so it's not like I'm losing anything. But really, that was more to appease other people than it was to myself, because I felt like people didn't want me to let go of something I had spent so long building upon. But I knew it wasn't in full alignment with myself anymore. And so ultimately, even though I said I would do both, I quit the other thing and I just focused on this business because I knew it would make me happy. So I made that judgment call, and other people around me were confused. Other people around me were sad or maybe didn't want me to do that. I even had a friend tell me, like, no, don't do that. And that's just because she loves me and she was seeing me finally grow something and she wanted me to get those results. But for whatever reason, it wasn't aligned with me anymore. And so I had to give up all of that hard work to start anew. And I knew it was worth it, but at the time it can feel like other people don't really get it. And so it's going to be important for you to really listen to your intuition. And that's why this whole year has been really about developing that within you, so that now it's a very strong guidance system and you know exactly what you want, when you want it, and you can stop feeling anxious because you know that you're going to make it happen in your life, and you can trust yourself to see this through. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Sagittarius. If this resonates, please like and comment down below. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology and how to read your chart or know more about your purpose and your innate gifts, then I highly recommend signing up for the North Node Society waitlist, which is also in the description box below. And I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Capricorn and Capricorn Rising. So for you guys, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your 12th house of deep transformation, deep inner transformation. There has been an overlapping card for almost every group. For you guys, I just pulled the Nine of Pentacles, and Sagittarius also had this. And who doesn't want this? This is the card of abundance. So I'm definitely getting the feeling that you guys are going to start cultivating, honestly, inner abundance is what I'm seeing a lot through the astrology. But let me have a look at the cards and kind of see how it all plays out. Okay, I also pulled the Tower card, which says upheaval. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. The first thing I wanted to say when I said that there was eclipse happening in your 12th house was the 12th house is of loss. So I wanted to mention something about loss. And with this upheaval card, I am getting the sense that there could be some feeling of loss or some really big change where you feel like you're losing part of yourself, or you're losing something or someone you love. And I don't mean death. I mean, it could be death, but I don't typically like to talk about that. So, and then the Three of Cups. Yeah, I do feel like a lot of good is coming in for you, but I feel like there has to be kind of some upheaval in order for that to occur. So let's have a look further into the astrology. So what's interesting is the Three of Cups is really making me feel like it's relating to this aspect in the astrology, because the moon that's happening in your 12th house, the eclipse, is also making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the 3rd house. So we know that Pisces is a water sign, and the 3rd house is the house of community, literally. And Jupiter brings blessings. So I'm getting the sense you're having some kind of community blessings coming through. So if you have started some kind of community, I'm definitely getting the vibe that that's being like really strongly supported this time with Jupiter moving through here. It's only going to be here until late July, and then it's going to move back in December. So I feel like you guys might get a taste of what good is to come in the future. And in this community that you're creating, in these friendships that you're creating, in this sense of stability that you're creating with others. And this is powerful manifestation energy. So you're probably manifesting a lot of abundance into your life. I pulled the 9 of Pentacles abundance and the citrine card, which is about leadership and creating more wealth and prosperity. So I feel like this kind of community that you're making for yourself is bringing in a lot of money, is bringing in a lot of abundance and stability, but you also have the Tower card in between these. So I'm getting a sense of great change occurring in order for this to happen, or this is already starting to happen and great change is on its way, because the Tower card can oftentimes be very beneficial. And the sense that I'm getting from this moon, especially because it's making a square to Jupiter, is that it's very beneficial. You're the phoenix rising from the ashes. So I'm getting the feeling that this Tower moment is something that is happening to indicate that you are having a total transformation into like an up leveling of your life. I feel like any kind of financial struggles are starting to end. Any kind of feeling alone, or you're lacking support, or you're lacking your purpose, is starting to come to an end. And I feel like this upheaval in this Phoenix card is saying that if you are losing anything, it's this old way of being. I feel like you're stepping into this strong position where you feel like you are the master manifester in your own life. And you're kind of destroying any old mindsets that might have kept you small. Or maybe you did go through a lot of hardship recently, and that is actually helping you rise up as the phoenix and create this great community where you can cultivate abundance and manifest your dream life. So I'm feeling like this is really positive. I feel like your mindset's going to start shifting in a really positive way, because Jupiter transiting through your 3rd house is giving you more optimism in general. It's giving you a more expansive way of viewing and of thinking. Yeah, so I feel like you guys are going to be able to start finding solutions with Jupiter in the 3rd house to problems that you've had for a while. You're going to start having a positive mindset. You're going to start being able to attract the people and the opportunities in your local area. So if you're trying to start some kind of local community, like physically local, this is a really good time, because Jupiter and Pisces in the 3rd house and the 3 of Cups is saying that you are going to find exactly the right people at exactly the right time. All right, you guys also have Mercury and Venus and Gemini in the 6th house. So I feel like you're going to start having just more optimism and like happiness in general. Good luck, I think, in terms of you in your workplace. So if you're working with other people, I'm getting the sense of community, possibly being colleagues, and those people being really awesome right now, and you having good connections and things are just kind of flowing in that area of your life. If you're not working for somebody, I feel like this could be you just feeling honestly good in your general like daily activities. You feeling like you have time to meditate, but you also have time to see clients, and it doesn't feel overwhelming, and you feel like you finally have enough money to set a schedule that feels really good to you, feels really prosperous to you. I'm getting the sense that you're just connecting easily with people, you're feeling better mentally and emotionally, and this is helping you up level into a new way. You guys also have Neptune in the 3rd making a square to Mercury and Venus in the 6th, so you still might have times where you feel like you lack clarity about things, like maybe the sense of community, you're not really sure where it's going to go yet, and you're just trying to figure it out, or you are starting stuff, but you don't have the end goal in mind necessarily. And what I'm seeing here is that this is okay. You're just supposed to trust the steps that are coming in for you and not try to have control or clarity over everything that you're supposed to do. Just kind of take those daily steps and be optimistic about it. You also have Neptune in the 3rd making a trine to Mars in the 7th, Mars and Cancer in the 7th. So I feel like you're going to be attracting into people into this community that are really going to benefit you. So this is the time to socialize, to go to events, to meet up with people, to go on dates. This is a really good time to kind of like network and go out there and ask people for what you want. Ask people to show up, market to people, call them out and say, will you do this for me? Or bring a friend, like ask for favors, draw on your network, because I feel like Neptune in the third is saying when you ask for it, you will receive. So you're being supported by your community right now. You're up leveling into this whole new level of consciousness and abundance and manifestation ability. And I feel like these are really positive cards saying that any troubles you've been having in the past are put to bed now, and you're really starting to enter this totally new chapter of your life where you're cultivating a community, friendships, and abundance all around you. So wow, this is so positive, you guys. I'm really, really stoked for you. If this resonates, please like and comment down below. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology, how to read your chart, how to find out what your innate gifts are based off of your astrology chart, then please sign up for the North Node Society, which is linked down below. The wait list is there, but we launch on May 25th, and I can't wait to see you there. Bye. All right, up next we have Aquarius Rising. So for you guys, this full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your 7th or 11th house of community, of networking, of friendships, of the online sphere, of your hopes and wishes for the future. It could even be like stepchildren, things like that. Oh, 8 of Cups, walk away. You guys, what do you need to walk away from? Interesting. The 11th house is a positive house in astrology. To have an eclipse here, to have change here is generally positive. But at times eclipses are also bringing about endings, especially lunar eclipses. And in the 11th house of friendships, there could be some relationships you need to walk away from that are honestly kind of limiting your manifesting abilities. Because I'm seeing the fact that you have Jupiter and Pisces in the 2nd house is giving you the ability to manifest right now. It's giving you basically some more skills, some more knowledge, some more opportunities, even some more resources to start creating a dream life. But because it's making a square to the moon in the 11th, maybe you can't fully bring in those blessings until you've walked away from someone. I mean, in the sense that it's someone, not something. I also pulled the 5 of Wands, competition. Interesting. Walk away from competition. There's a lot of cards here. All right. The Queen of Swords, perception. So first of all, the vibe that I'm getting from the Queen of Swords is like ice cold, like not getting emotionally involved into something. The walk away in the competition card, I feel like here is saying that there's some kind of negative energy coming from people around you, or some kind of competition you might be in, or some kind of fight that people are trying to start with you. And I'm getting the sense that you're just like walking away from it and not putting your energy or emotions into it because it doesn't deserve it. So this might be a really specific message for just some people, but I'm just saying what I see. Ace of Pentacles, opportunity. So this is really great to see come through, especially because this moon is triggering the Jupiter in the 2nd house, where you do have that opportunity to cultivate more abundance in your life, more opportunities for abundance and prosperity. 5 of Pentacles, need. So I'm getting the sense that even though this opportunity is coming through, you might still feel like it's not enough, or like you don't have everything that you need, or all the pieces are not quite there yet. Like I'm getting the feeling that like the Ace of Pentacles, the opportunity is coming to you, but you still have to act on it. It's just the seed, and it's not fully here yet, especially because Jupiter just dipped into Pisces, just dipped into your 2nd house. It's actually not going to be here fully until December of this year. So I'm getting the feeling that like there's a lot more that you need to cultivate over time. And in the meantime, it might feel like the 5 of Pentacles, where you feel like there's a little bit of scarcity and you feel like you're not even quite sure where you're going or what's going on and what the future holds. But ultimately, look at what I see you guys step into. I feel like this is when Jupiter finally does enter into Pisces in December 28th of this year. You're going to step into this really strong leadership position. So I feel like there are 2 different messages going on. One of them is a social message, because this moon is happening in your 11th house. There's a need to walk away from maybe some kind of connections that are not helpful, to use your intellect and not your emotion, because sometimes we can be really emotionally attached to people or communities. I really want to say people and not things. But it could be ideas. It doesn't have to be I think it's people. So I'm just going to say people. So anyway, so yeah, sometimes like we need to walk away from people, but we have such an emotional investment. We spend so much time with them. We're like, oh, I don't want to do this. That makes me a bitch. Maybe it does make you a bitch, but who cares? Because it's in your best interest. Sometimes the Queen of Swords is being a bitch, but what she's doing is using her intellect. She's using her mind to make the right decision for her. And ultimately, whatever decision is right for you is going to be right for the other person as well. So that's one message I'm seeing. And that's what's happening with the eclipse in the 11th. But again, it's making a square to Jupiter and Pisces in the 2nd, which is the other message of your manifestation and of your skill development. I feel like you're going to be given an opportunity and you have the chance to act on it. But I feel like you're still not going to have all of your needs met until the longer cycle takes place where Jupiter moves into Pisces in December 28th of this year. So if you feel like you've been given an opportunity and you're like, okay, I have this opportunity, but where are the riches? Where are things working out perfectly? Like I thought Jupiter and Pisces was supposed to be fucking awesome, especially in my 2nd house. And you're like, what the fuck? Just know that that's okay right now. Like you're supposed to be going through this little bit of a fumbling period. It's not like you're given the opportunity and then you're at your end goal. There's a long distance in between. And that distance right now might make you feel indecisive. It might make you feel unsure of yourself at times. It might make you feel like you don't have what you need or the sense of scarcity or lack of trust. But I am getting the sense that once you move through these next few months and you get to the end of December, you're going to be like, wow, okay, this opportunity is really starting to pay off now. Now I feel like I'm this leader of my life. I've let go of those old relationships that aren't working for me. I'm starting to believe in myself and what I can manifest. I'm feeling a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and I'm starting to inspire the people around me. And this opportunity is really coming full bloom and full circle. So that's what I'm seeing from the cards. You guys also have Mercury conjunct Venus and Gemini in the 5th house. So this is a really great time for dating because anything in the 5th house is like where we start to have a lot more enjoyment and fun. And the 5th house I see is like the dating house or as the house for children if you're already in that phase of your life, or even trying to create something like beautiful or artistic for yourself, or even just travel around and like have fun. I'm getting the sense that you guys are meant to enjoy things right now. You're meant to start attracting more people into your life right now because having Venus move through the 5th house is really great for your dating life in general. It's going to start attracting some of those like really beautiful and fun opportunities that are just going to make things feel a lot lighter throughout this process of indecision or feeling like you don't have what you need. I feel like you're going to be supported through other avenues of your life in other ways. You also have Neptune making a square to these planets in your 5th house. So you might feel like sometimes your lack of clarity about where your direction is going and how you're manifesting in your life and like what you're ultimately doing, you might feel like that kind of affects your fun time or your dating life or your children or whatever. It's like, okay, but I don't have clarity about the end goal. I don't know exactly where this is going. I'm not sure if I'm manifesting the right things. It's like that self-doubt starts to creep in and can affect your ability to just enjoy the pleasures of life right now. So I just wanted to warn you about that because you're meant to be enjoying it. So you might need to just loosen up a bit and surrender to not knowing every step of the way where things are going and how things are going to be. And I feel like helping you is the trine that Neptune is making to Mars and Cancer in your 6th house. So helping you is honestly focusing on the work that you're doing right now, the daily grind, just putting a lot of energy and enthusiasm into that is going to help you transform this nervous feeling into productivity, because ultimately we all have these feelings, but it's just about not letting them hold us back. And then also the 6th house can be really helpful to focus on your health, especially with Mars here. I'm seeing like intense exercise. So if you like to run, if you like to lift weights, if you like to box, beat the shit out of people, basically, I'm seeing those be really positive things, like kind of more aggressive things. I'm seeing those be really beneficial for you guys because Mars energy wants to come out. So if it's not going out in your career, it needs to come out in your physical exercise or both. I also pulled the Malachite card for you, which I literally just read this was and I already forgot what it was. So the Malachite crystal, let's look up what that means. You've still got a lot to learn about yourself. Yeah, okay. I feel like that's a lot of what you're going through over these next few months until December is like a lot of self-growth and self-awareness. Take it easy on yourself. The guide sent Malachite with a message not to push yourself too hard or be too harsh on yourself. It's okay to be a work in progress. Spoiler alert, the process is never complete. That's the vibe I'm getting. Like, I think a lot of this during this time when you're starting to have that opportunity, but then it doesn't come to full fruition right away, you're going to sit in this energy and you're probably going to criticize yourself. You're probably going to be like, why am I not better? Why am I not having more clarity? Why am I not where I want to be yet? And this is saying, have more compassion with yourself because you're doing really well. One of the best things that you can do to have compassion with yourself is sit down and journal about how far you've come. I think we get really hard on ourselves because we don't take the time to have the perspective about looking in the past and seeing where we are now. Because if we genuinely saw each step that we took each day, we would be proud of ourselves. Just like a baby, we see its progress each and every day and you feel so proud of it. But for yourself, you don't always look at yourself the way that you would look at your child. And so you're making these steps each and every day, and then you're yelling at yourself for not being an adult and walking and paying your taxes. And it's like, you're just a baby, you know? Give yourself a time in each part of your cycle and give yourself a pat on the back for every step that you're taking and all the progress that you're making. Because ultimately, you're going to go slower and you're going to feel more insecure and you're going to feel less happy and never like you're reaching or doing good enough if you continue that mindset when you're making progress, because you are making progress. I just feel like your mind hasn't quite caught up with how much progress you've made. And then I pulled, lastly, the hyena card, which is interesting. I'm definitely getting some like dark vibes from the hyena. I don't know if it's just because of the Lion King and the hyenas are like creepy as fuck, and I don't know. But also what's weird about hyenas, but helpful, I guess, is that even in the darkness, they have this ability to just like laugh it off, laugh at things. And so I'm getting the sense that if you can just kind of keep your humor about you and not take everything so seriously, I feel like you're going to have a much better time. Yeah, it says humor, wit, and sarcasm. The hyena personality is a jokester and crowd pleaser, but below the surface, there are unfulfilled dreams to be realized. So reflect on your reliance on sarcasm and humor to express your truth. So I feel like this is kind of like one of those things where it's a fine line. You want to laugh at yourself, and you want to not take things so seriously, and you want to crack jokes in the hard times, but you also don't want to like cover up your feelings with humor. You don't want to use humor as a way to not face what's really going on and to kind of say things without saying them. Like, be honest with people and own where you're at in life, but also try to have a sense of humor about where you're at. So I think it's a fine balance between the two with this hyena card. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Aquarius and Aquarius Rising. If you like this, please like and comment down below. And as always, if you want an astrology reading, you can purchase one from lilithbloom.com. But if you're interested in learning more about your astrology chart on your own and basically how to start reading for your purpose and your innate gifts, then I suggest checking out the North Node Society waitlist, which is down in the description box below. Thanks, bye. All right, and last but not least, we have the Pisces and Pisces Rising group. So Pisces, this is a big one for you guys. This full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius is happening in your 10th house of career. So I'm seeing some big changes. Wow, we got the Star card, rejuvenation. The Star card, I believe, appears after the 10 of Wands or the Tower. I believe the Tower. Basically some kind of destructive, hard, challenging, emotional period. And the Star is emerging with a new sense of hope and optimism and faith in the future. And I feel like that's also what this eclipse in Sagittarius is all about, is about renewed faith in life and humanity. And having Jupiter also transit through your sign in your first house is massive. It's going to start bringing you way more blessings into your life. It's going to start making you feel like life is moving the way that it should. Oh yeah, look, I got the 10 of Wands. Ooh. Burden. I feel like this burden is ending, you guys. This is the closing out of the cycle. And then after that, you have the Star. I feel like this definitely belongs first. So that's so beautiful. I feel like Jupiter is coming into your sign to lift those burdens and to make you feel like you deserve what's coming to you now in life. You deserve these opportunities. You deserve these blessings. You deserve these connections, this abundance that's coming to you. And it's coming through, especially in your career, but also just in general in your life. Like, you might feel like you're physically stronger. You might feel like you're just mentally stronger and happier. You might feel like your relationships are thriving and you have a greater sense of stability in home life. I'm just getting the sense that this is going to be pervasive across all areas of life, since Jupiter moving through your first will literally touch everything and affect everything through aspects. So, but especially your career is getting a major up leveling because the lunar eclipse is happening in your career sector. And I got the Ace of Wands, inspiration. So this is an opportunity right on your doorstep. This is an idea that plops into your lap that has so much passion, so much drive and energy behind it, and it's going to take you places. So I feel like you're finally putting down all of these hard things from the past. You're feeling like you're hopeful about what's coming up in your future, and then boom, out pops something in your career, finally giving you some blessings, saying, here you go, here is the next way to go. We know you put down those old things. We know you have hope for the future. Now here's a new thing to take you to the next place that you need to be. So wow, this is so positive, you guys. I feel like this is going to feel amazing, amazing, amazing as you're going through this. You guys also have Mercury conjunct Venus and Gemini in the 4th house. So this is going to give you a lot of stability in your home life, a lot of happiness in your home life. You and your family are going to be communicating more and better. Your relationships are going to feel like they're really stabilizing at this time. And I pulled the Opalite card for you. So if you've been looking for a home, I see that working out. If you've been just trying to create a different atmosphere in your home, I see that happening as well. So just basically blessings in your home, blessings in your physical body, blessings in your career. Like you guys could not have better, eclipse energy. Okay, I also pulled the Shark and the Rabbit card. These feel very different. These feel really, really different. The first feeling that I got from this Shark card was like you stepping into this incredible power and like taking life by the horns. This shark can come up from the depths and attack its prey in the shallows. And I feel like this is you. You've gone into the depths with this 10 of Wands card. You've gone into the hardships and into the depths, and you've finally been able to let that go and lighten up and come to the surface of life and be hopeful. And at the surface, you're going to be met with your prey, aka this new opportunity coming into your lap. And you're just going to take it in your mouth and feed yourself with it. You know, you're going to use that as an inspiration to move you forward and kind of step into this really powerful essence of who you are. And this time, you're not just sitting at the surface and expecting the worst to happen. You've grown from the wisdom of those 10 of Wands. You've grown from the difficulty and the hardships. And now you're coming to the surface a new person. So this inspiration that you've had, you're going to tackle it in a new and different way that you've never been able to do before, because you've totally transformed who you are on a soul level. Before I get into this Rabbit card, I do want to look up what this Opalite means. So it might be helpful for you guys to work with Opalite. I don't know if you guys have it or are interested in it, but usually these are really helpful in terms of what our soul needs, like the medicine. So let's see what it has to say. Opalite is here to let you know that the fruition of your prayers and visions is subject to divine timing. Your dreams and wishes are manifesting more rapidly than you realize, and when they do, you will see why it was so worth the wait. On the flip side of things, the universe may see that you're ready for your next astral assignment before you do. In either case, consciously choose to surrender your attachment to deadlines and timelines and allow the universe to open doors for you at the most fortuitous times. Wow. This card is basically saying that you are getting this opportunity coming to you. But it's also saying that divine timing is key here. So I feel like this might be where the rabbit comes from. Have you seen that rabbit from Alice in Wonderland? And it's like, it's a rabbit, right? And I think it has like a bunch of watches or clocks, and it's like, what time is it? I'm late or something. It's like always running around saying it's late. That's the feeling that I'm getting for you guys with this rabbit card, is that you feel like you're not trusting this divine timing aspect. You feel like you're not where you want to be yet. It's not happening as soon as you want it to. And there's this feeling of urgency. Like, I need to catch up. I need to be where I want to be. I need to be there now. And this Opalite card is saying, nah, bro, like chill. There's fortuitous timing, which means that if you had what you wanted right now, it actually wouldn't work out as well, because some things just haven't aligned in the stars for you. And I feel like that's what this literally is, the star card. The stars are aligning for you, but you have to wait for them to move into alignment. You can't rush the process. And so once they do align, it's going to come in and you're going to see why. You're going to see why it had to happen at this time. And you're going to be thankful that it waited this long because you wouldn't have been ready before, or something wouldn't have been ready in your life. And so I feel like it's important to warn you guys that eclipse energy, while the eclipse is happening on this day, eclipse energy lasts for 6 months. So really these things start to unfold over time, over the next 6 months, or it could be really quickly on one day over the next 6 months. So it doesn't mean that it's happening right now for you. But what is happening is a brand new cycle. I'm seeing you guys kind of come and take this opportunity with the teeth of your mouth, and you're so grateful for it. You're so ready for it. You're nourished by it. But again, you have to wait for this divine timing to occur. And I think part of this could be because you also have Neptune in the first house, and it's making a square to Mercury and Venus in the fourth house. So what I'm seeing here is that there's some lack of clarity in terms of, honestly, I feel like some aspect about you and your life, maybe your life direction as well. It's like you can't create this foundation quite yet. You can't start building on the foundation until you've decided where you want to live, until you've bought the piece of land. But I feel like your life is still shifting and pivoting, and there's not clarity there yet. So it's like you can't jump the gun, because if you buy the land, if you start building the house, but you don't own the land and you have to move in another year, it wouldn't make sense. The timing has to be divine. The timing has to be fortuitous. And so I feel like this is saying, honestly, just kind of loosen the reins a bit and relax and trust and know that you're going to get what you need. And Neptune the first is also making a trine to Mars in the fifth house in Cancer. So I feel like this is saying that as you start to loosen up and just kind of enjoy life and stop trying to plan everything out, but just honestly go with the flow and feel good and follow your passions, follow your ambitions. Passion, I think, is the key word here. Like your interests, your hobbies, your passions. Follow those little things, and then you'll start to kind of get more and more clarity over time. And that will ultimately allow you to know where to start building your foundation and where this new opportunity is going to come in for you. So this looks so positive, you guys. I really hope that you enjoy this energy. It looks like it's going to manifest over the next 6 months and in a way that you've never imagined. So again, trust the divine timing in all of it. If this resonates, please like and comment down below. And if you would like to learn more about astrology, how to read your chart, how to understand your life purpose, and your innate gifts, then go ahead and join the waitlist for the North Node Society, which is linked in the description box below. Thanks, guys. Bye.